Okay. Holy cow, we pulled it off. We are recording. As always, I am Brian Kynes, the creator of the Tales of Ulran campaign setting. We use Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition, heavily homebrewed, to tell our story. And the awesome folks that are joining me here on this a little bit later than usual Sunday afternoon, you're here to help me write this story one chapter at a time. Appreciate everyone for the patience today. It's been a long day. It's been a lot of struggles. We've had medical things go on, power outages, internet shutting down, crazy shit. But regardless, we're here, and it's going to work itself out with any luck. Let's go ahead and go around and do introductions. We're going to be going through Plan B tonight. We haven't done that for probably about 3 or 4 weeks. Because the other one's been rolling around. We've had good attendance. Everyone's been able to show up, and but this will be a chance to go through this a little bit more. Colby, let's start with you, bud. Go ahead.
My name is Colby, and I'll be playing Arsin, who is a Draken that is a monk with a secret backstory and class.
Well done. It's hard to shift gears, isn't it? You know what I
Yep.
mean? From one character to another. I understand, but you did well, man. Danny, you're next, bud. Go ahead.
I'll be playing Finthier. He is a Elven Arcane Blade, which is an elite wizard class that is kind of like they guard diplomats and such for the Elven nation, to put it shortly.
Right, which is awesome. That we finally figured out exactly what the true purpose of this class is, why they had to be created, and it works out really nice, especially for the story. Bella, please go ahead.
Yeah, so I play Az'ara, and for the past few sessions with her, I have been saying she's seemingly human, but I think in the previous time we saw her, we did see the other version of her. So her race is Dareblin, which is a pretty cool homebrew race. And her class is a dancer. And something to kind of jump back to that you said at the start. You said, "Oh, we had so much stuff going on, from health stuff to power outages to internet." Just to clarify, all of that was stuff that you had to endure in the space of a few hours. So glad that you're able to make it through all of that and lead us on this journey, Brian.
Right on. Thank you.
That is a lifetime.
Right on. Yeah.
He solidly got like a week full of Mondays on a Sunday evening.
It did. It's
Yeah.
just a bucket of shit. It's an absolute bucket of it. Thank you, Bella. I appreciate that. Next move is Mr. Keaton. Please go ahead.
I'll be playing the part of Rook, a Voldros from the Netherscorn. Or, I guess the Nether Realm. He's a Nether Scorn.
Very good. It was interesting. The last time we went through this, we only had Colby and Jeremy available, and we made the most of it. Every episode has its really good points. I could easily say, and I'm glad to be able to say that out loud and mean it without being, full of it or kissing butt or anything. They all kind of feel like my favorite episode when we're done with them, which is a good thing. And the one with just Jeremy and Colby was not any different at all. It was really interesting. And like I say to folks that may check these out, and you guys, we make a lot of this stuff up on the fly, which makes it really interesting. And man, did it fly on the last one. It was something else, but cool things came of it. It was neat trying to make the art for that episode and trying to make it graphically a cover page that encompassed all the crazy shit that these two got into, but ended up looking pretty good. And I'm curious to see now what effect that has in the actual realm of Ulran. So I thought about a couple different ways to handle this on the car ride home. What I like to call my peaceful time today. When I didn't have crazy shit going on, when I was driving and thinking, right? So, if you've watched the last episode, you realize that Rook and Arsin, one of the things that connects their characters are their ability to sense and be able to traverse maybe not at will, but they are able to walk in and out of the Netherfall. The Netherfall being a darkened realm where it's almost like people that have not passed on yet. It's almost like a nightmare type kind of realm. There's a lot more to it, but I won't want spoilers because there's actually, me and Danny have worked out a lot of shit that really makes it make sense, but I don't want to spoil anything. But it's this darkened realm where nightmares remain and the shadow of people kind of still cling to. Okay. And then some other nasties in there that choose to make this their playground when they want to. While they were stuck in there, they end up battling some things and meeting some other people. Just a minute, guys. Hello? And the chaos continues. I'm going to pause this for a second because there's cats fighting outside and they won't let my daughter come in the house. So I have to go outside and break up a cat fight. And then we'll continue.
Is she not larger than the cats?
That's what I'm going to explain to her. Ta-ta. Okay, so we are on record having the earliest break that we've ever had here in Ulran, which is good. Daughter's coming down the hill, staying with a friend, and cats are losing their freaking minds in the woods next door. So, she was mortally wounded. You know, she's just turned 14. She's not quite a boss yet and needed Dad to go out there and take care of business, so it's all good. I know. I'm recording, so I get it. Okay. She's making faces at me. So,
Tell her we said hey.
I will. Yeah, I will. And we check these out too, these videos sometimes and stuff like that too. So we discussed they were in the Netherfell. I'm trying to decide how that looks to the existing group. That's the trick here. Is, you know, the things that we did in the last episode, which was episode 5 of Plan B, for reference, is they did some battling and worked with some powers, some entities, some things that were only visible in the Netherfall. And because they were successful to a degree, that's going to drastically change the bullshit that Az'ara and Hector and Finn all have to deal with in the actual realm of Ulran, the now. Okay? So, I'm going to start with Finn, because I think once we get to Az'ara's take on this, that's going to bring us straight into moving forward. Okay? I want to take care of this loose end and stuff, and then we'll move in from there. Okay? Thank you for being patient. Enjoy the show. Okay? So, Mr. McGuffey, as you're down there by this large fountain right in front of this local brewery, and it's actually a mead house and winery is what this place is. It has a awesome billboard sign that hangs off of the above the front door of it, which has like bronze like railing that goes up to it that is entwined very intricately with different kinds of ribbons made out of bronze and leaves and apples and different fruits and things that seem to be tinted bronze to have the color of what these fruits might be. You have an indication this is the type of wines and mead that they make in this place. The sign that hangs above the door looks like a halfling that has a sword and he's down and he's holding it up with a giant foot getting ready to step down on top of him. It's kind of like a silhouette picture. The name of what it was called eludes me at the current moment because I don't have it on me, but it's something like, you know, talk about the bravery and the last-ditch effort of them, and it's something of that nature. If it comes to me later, I'll tell you. But you've been talking to this large half-ogre that seems overly intelligent and seems kind of like he has fine tastes and craftsmanship, and he has admitted that he is a brewer and someone that helps make wine in this place, and he's very skilled. And he had talked Arsin to climb up to the top of the roof to get these bottles. We remember what happened up there, which was awesome with Arsin. So as Arsin was on top of the roof, you were in the background talking with a female swashbuckler / tavern maiden called Roselia, which was kind of this pretty long brown-haired Latino kind of looking woman with a lot of attitude. The sarcastic one, and this large brewmaster half-ogre. Okay? So, as you're doing that, you get kind of lost in the conversation with them and stuff, and you're sipping on what Roselia keeps pouring out to you guys as you're leaning on the fountain. And you go to look up, and he's not there. Something strange has happened, because you just saw him with a handful of bottles getting ready to descend, and now on that railing you can even see, I think it was like a light blowing snow, because I can't leave tracers of snow, but you will actually see those 3 bottles that he had in his hands resting on the ledge top of that roof. Okay, because Colby couldn't remember exactly what he did with them, so we're going to say he actually left them there for a minute. But he's nowhere to be found. You don't see him. What's the first thing that Finn is doing in this moment, Danny?
What time of day is it? It's dark, right?
It's getting to where it's just now starting. The lights are going down. People have been going around New Gimdar starting to light some of the lanterns in town. Some of the more festive stuff is starting to shut down, and you can see lights starting to shine out dimly from the places that are still open onto the finely stonework streets. It's about, it's getting there. Another half hour it'll be dark.
As he's sitting there, he would stand up real quick and look right at the bottles. Where has Arsin went? See the bottles, but he's gone.
As you do that, Roselia kind of looks for just a minute, and she's feeling pretty good, right? So she kind of clears her head for a minute and blinks and kind of looks around for a minute. She goes, "You say he's missing? Where exactly you're talking?" Wait, that's not right. He was... And she looks at you for a minute. And she looks kind of half concerned for just a second too. In the distance, you hear commotion. I'm going to say like about a football field off or so, maybe 200 yards or something off in the distance of the caravan, the direction that Az'ara and Rok went. Okay? You hear gasps from a group of people. You can... Just a basic kind of ruckus. Tell you what, roll me a perception check, please, Finn, and I'll tell you how much you're gathering from this.
19 with bonuses.
Awesome. By the way, it is a relief to see Danny roll things under a 30 with a level 3 character. I am liking this. It's all good. Hey, everybody's got to start from somewhere. It's 19. It's not bad. So
wait till I get to level 13 again.
Oh yeah, I'll wait. I hope you make it there. So, so as this happens, you have in the back of your mind, that. Well, tell me for first before I go pulling on strings that maybe you haven't pulled tight yet. When Az'ara and Rok headed that direction, what was Finn's understanding of why the group was splitting up for just a minute? Can you tell me kind of about what your angst was about it, what your any kind of problems you may have had or concerns while they were doing this?
Well, he knew like that Rook wanted to meet with him, and it seemed just kind of odd, like it was a big thing. But he also knew this guy Arsin wanted to roam the city, and you know, he's kind of a different looking guy to go roam in the city. So he figured he would come with him. Of course, Finn's a different looking guy too. So.
And Az'ara, you didn't give any kind of indication to Finn or the others why you were being kind of cautious and worried and concerned a bit about the travel you were getting ready to have. I don't know if that was all internal or if you said anything to anybody.
I don't think so, because I don't think she really knows them. So,
Okay.
if anything, it was more like, I'm preparing for the show.
I'll do an insight check if you don't mind, just because his nature is guarding diplomats, body language, stuff like that. He may have picked up on some of her.
Okay.
What she's
Just to help
discussing.
this make sense, one way or the other, because both are good answers. Go ahead and roll an insight.
Nope.
Just straight roll.
That would be a 3 with no
No.
bonuses.
When she left and went off like this, Az'ara does very well in the short time you've known her at putting on a stage face. She can be very pleasant. She can look concerned, but you don't know that she's truly that concerned or worried inside. She does a good job of concealing her true intent. Even when shit was getting real before with the group and stuff, she plays things off well. So you would have no sense of danger or tension when she left. So with that, the 19 tells you hope it isn't something that has happened around them. You don't necessarily think it's them. You just hope that it's not some kind of trouble they've gotten into. That's where you're at. Okay? As you do that, you see a group of 3 guards take off heading in that direction. One being the mage, escorted by 2 of the higher up guards from New Gendar, running in that direction. Okay? Hold on for a minute. You're bumping stuff. Be careful.
Do you know where my red wagons are?
Just a minute, guys. I'm sorry. Okay. Good deal. So with that, what are you doing in this moment, Finn?
He's going to start heading that way. He's just going to look to them and go, I'm not sure if he's involved, but it's too convenient.
Okay. Just for the hell of it, roll me a basic dexterity check. I want to see the way in which you're able to navigate through. And it's almost like you might be following the ambulance here, because these guards went going by. They might be clearing a path to a degree. I'm just curious to what kind of expedience you can have when you're trying to get in the direction of the chaos.
That would be a 16.
16 is pretty good. Let me double check with a DC for you. Yeah, that's pretty low. You're able to traverse pretty well through the crowds without bumping into anyone or causing any other additional scene as you head in that direction. You hear the large ogre in the background. What about the drinks? And you kind of hear that in the distance, but you don't pay any mind to it as you would continue in that direction. Let's go ahead and go to Az'ara. Okay. If I'm not mistaken, Hector had left Rook behind and walked about 50 yards or so up towards them as they were preparing for tonight's show, and they were on the actual lower area of the stage. Well, we called it. What was the name for it again? It has the big, it's the big stone steps that lead down to it. Ancient Roman-looking kind of stuff where they used to read like Shakespearean type kind of things, like an amphitheater kind of looking thing.
Mm-hmm.
So they were down at the very bottom of the long sets of stairs that laid against the side of the actual mountain in the old district of New Gemdar. And they were down there warming up performance. So when you went down, you walked down a set of central steps. You're seeing them setting up some decorations on the ground, laying out some of the things that you had gave them plans to do while you were gone. And you'd had a conversation with them before Hector broke off and told you to stay behind. Is that correct, Az'ara?
Yeah, it was Hector had broke off, told her to stay behind because he was going to go talk to Rook. Right, Rook? That's Jeremy's character.
Yeah, and Jeremy, you're muted. So yes, okay.
Yeah, so he broke off. He went to go talk to Rook because he had a delivery of some sort. Hector told her to stay back. And she's just having girl talk with her sister currently, being like, oh, there's this comedy club. And like, the sister is probably asking her about, I believe his name is Iveron?
Iveron, yes.
Iveron. So it's more kind of just like fun, lighthearted chatting on her end.
Okay. And what was the name of that little pet that he had? Do you guys happen to remember?
I think we weren't told a name. I think we were just told that it was a face sneaker.
Okay.
I think.
Okay.
There may have been a name said at one point, but all I have is face
It was
sneaker.
like a Fenris something. I think a Fennerin or something like that was the actual name we gave it. It's in chat, but regardless of that. He had come up to you at some point as well. I think it was before you started gossiping with Daphne and watching Damien finish some things, but he had come and said he was there to watch the show.
Oh, yeah. So he had come up to say he was watching the show. Damien is with Hector, I think. Because Hector and Damien went together.
Okay. Okay, that makes sense. Okay. So,
yeah, because I don't think Hector went entirely by himself. Damien kind of went as backup because they didn't know what was going on.
As you're in the middle of the conversation with Daphne, and just as soon as you can see her face get really interested in the telling of what you've seen, and you're talking about the Auroran elven young red-haired male that you've been talking with, this guy looks like, the guy from Twilight, we've discussed. All of a sudden, when she's looking at you, you have your back turned from the way in which you came, okay? As you're looking at her. And as she's smiling at you, she looks over your shoulder. And you see her smile kind of fade into this, what? Kind of look on, and her eyes frown. And she puts her hand on your shoulder and turns you just a bit, and she says,
TV isn't working again.
Damien, what's wrong? And he comes down and he looks to both of you and he says, sisters, I believe something has found us. And he draws a pouch of sand out of his pocket. Okay, he has these long robes on. Now, it's interesting, the robes that he has on currently are decorative robes to make him look like a character in the play because they were in the middle of rehearsing. But this thing almost seems to be a streamer that almost looks to be like it has fake dragon scales painted on it, and it wraps around him kind of like a toga, and it's quite eccentric, but it is just theater clothes that he has on. But as he grabs this sand, you've seen them do this a few times, Az'ara, but it's nothing that you particularly do. But as he takes that sand and he throws the bag up like this, he reaches through it, and next thing you know, he grabs out a long spear that just comes, materializes out of it as he does. and he takes it over his back, and he starts booking it back the way that he came. When you look over, Daphne's eyes grow very serious and very stern, and she blows hair up out of her face, and she slicks it back like this, and she goes, "Come." And they start booking it back up that long stone stairwell to the top, where you know Hector and Rook are having a conversation. What are you doing? Any kind of spells, any kind of words, anything at all? What would she be doing in this moment?
She is grabbing a weapon of sorts, and I know that I was trying to figure out a weapon for her because initially we have her with the chakrams or whatever, but I wasn't too sure if I wanted to keep that for her. But being that I couldn't think of anything else, and I'm now don't have anything else, so she's gonna grab that, I guess.
Well, there's always tomorrow. You know, I mean, there's always something you could seek out later on, but for now, that's fine.
Yeah, so for the time being, she's probably grabbing those and booking it. I mean, I'm trying to think. They are away from their house, right? Their house is locked up separately.
Yeah, the caravans that you guys are from is closer to where Hector is.
Okay.
Rather than down here, because they brought stuff down the stairways into this. They don't want those to be visible from where the show's being performed. Exactly.
Yeah. So there's nothing of vital
away. Yeah. Have to haul the shit. So yeah.
Yeah. There's nothing of vital importance that she needs to protect down here. So she's just booking in that direction.
Okay. As you all do, you hear certain whispers and things like that, and you would catch the eye of Iveron for just a brief moment as he would kind of look concerned as you would go taking off after these two. Okay?
I think given her level of concern, the mask is not being put on right now. Where normally she would try to do like a 1 second, we will be right back, and then leave. But I think the level of concern is so high she doesn't even mess around with the pleasantries. It's just a matter of like, we're going and we're going now type thing. Zoom.
Okay. When you still look like the female from Demir, correct?
Correct. Yep.
Okay. As you run and crest the top of the steps, roll perception check, and I will let you know to what detail you see. I'll let you know how much you see.
Okay, let me grab our character sheet. You said perception?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's wisdom. Where is...
And if you need help, tell me.
I'm just... my... thing... Okay, there we go. So that's like a 5.
Okay. All you see is Hector side standing with a narrow, long scimitar in his hand in a wide stance, with his drapery around his head taken off, and it's rung down around his neck, that wrapping, and it's fallen down between his legs and is in kind of like a pile on the ground before him as a long eccentric scarf. And you can see Hector's actual hair and his long braided hairdo that he has underneath of all that kind of thing, the long black hair. And you see his other hand is way out like this in the distance, and there seems to be a waving orb of some kind of heat. You don't see red or any kind of thing like that, but it looks like almost like when you see heat on the horizon of a road, how everything warps and stuff. That seems to be on his right hand, as he has that long bladed scimitar in his left, and he's in a low stance. And in front of him, you see a box, a gift box, that looks like some kind of... Did she ever see the actual box that you had on you, Rook? This thing looks probably about like a foot by a foot. It's not huge, but it just seems to be laying there, cracked open, and something pouring out of it. Okay? That's what you see, and you are still at least a 20-yard distance from that, which ends up being about 60 foot. Okay? In that moment, Finn, as you rush up, the guards, the two main guards and the mage that they escort, that is also in the black and gold of New Gemdar's guards, you understand that look very well. They have ran up and stopped station, and they are starting to clear people back away from the chaos. They're trying to stop people from getting involved, because this is like these are some of the, I don't know, you want to call them the low lives or something, but this area of the city, sometimes shit just needs to fizzle out on its own. Okay? So you can see it, they've stopped, and they're keeping certain people from going any further towards the chaos. As you look down, and you see some kind of insect with that low roll, you rolled it was a 19, wasn't it? Okay. You see a mass of spiders pouring out of that box, as if there's a box laying on the ground to the side. This thing looks old, and the large metal corners on it and things like that are very eccentrically made. There's all kinds of symbols that you can't quite make out from your distance on it, but it seems like when it hit the ground, it has been opened, and an enormous amount of spiders are just pouring out of this damn thing, as if it's an endless void of them inside here, to a point where we're talking like there's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 foot around, and they just seem to be coming out of nowhere. And in that moment, when you look up, you see Rook. The both of you do, from different angles. Okay? And you also see Arsin standing to his side. But their pose is weird, guys. Try not to metagame so much on this one, Bella. But whereas you just kind of see them standing there, and you're wondering where everything looks kind of like, why is everyone just standing here? That's your first thought, right? But for you, Finn, it looks like they have been kind of frozen for just a moment. Like I'm not talking about ice, I'm talking about non-moving. It happens for just an instant. And then the following thing happens. Okay? And this is the best I can think to describe this to you guys. As you're both seeing this moment, these spiders are erupting out of this thing, and they're starting to make a large pattern on the ground. You're seeing, your two comrades standing there in the middle of this as the spiders go around them. All of a sudden, spiders start flying as if some kind of invisible blade has been thrown through this place, and you see spiders flying off. Some go flying past you, Finn. Some go scattering across the ground over by the concrete steps that you've come to the top of, Az'ara, and they burn and fade into sand and dust as they go off, almost like embers that are being smacked out of a fire and then run out of fuel. They're just being scattered along from all this. And as you see all that happen, all of a sudden a mass amount of them seem to be thwarted and destroyed. And the last thing you notice, and then I'm going to give you guys a chance to react to this before we do any kind of initiative or anything, okay? Is as Rook and Arsin start to reanimate in this moment, they fade out of where they were and they come back into an appearance somewhere else. Like 10, 15, 20 foot away from where they were. It's almost like they fade out of existence, and all of a sudden they pop up and appear over here in different poses. And all these spiders have been deceased, taken away, or gotten rid of. Az'ara, you don't notice this, but Finn, you do. You catch what appears to be a red robe of some kind that was standing right beside where that box was. You see it fade and brush away in the wind and turn into what look like spider webs and fade off into the wind as it goes through a transformation and leaves that place. Okay? So, in that moment, I will give Az'ara, I'll give you the first chance to have a reaction to this. You see Hector, he's still in that position. All of a sudden, a lot of the spiders have just been scattered about and turned into ash and cinder. There's still some there, but a great many of them have been dealt with. And they just seem to be scattering over. They started to climb up Hector's legs, as maybe you saw him just take time to knock a few off like this. What is your reaction at this moment?
I think she is seeing if Daphne and Damien move towards him, because as much as she wants to be the one leading the charge, she knows that she like just had a discussion with him about like how, like, if I recall, like part of their discussion was the fact that she is kind of being protected to a degree. So she is seeing if Daphne and Damien move towards Hector, and if they do, she's following, very distrustfully looking at Rook currently. Because from her perspective, it's, hey, I got a delivery for your dad, and then all this is happening. So in her mind, the connection that she's making is, what the heck did you do to my dad? Type thing. So she is very suspiciously looking at Rook.
Roll a perception check with advantage.
Okay. Let's see, so 8 and 17, and her character sheet is, you said perception?
I did, yes.
So 19.
Good job. Okay. Rook, the moment that you've got done talking to Symphona and Oridon, the two that introduced yourselves that helped you in this moment, and as soon as they walked off into the distance and you saw the snow start to fall again and you saw time start to speed up once again, you look around and there is a scattering, a decent amount of these spiders still, but the majority of this situation has been taken care of, right? So in that moment, you feel eyes upon you. And as you glance over your shoulder and you look in the distance, it is Az'ara looking at you intently as you stand. And just for curiosity, I'm going to say you're about 10 foot away from the actual box. Maybe 10, 15 foot, okay? Because we didn't really talk about where everybody was talking when your all's part of this ordeal was over, okay? But as you're coming back into the normal realm, you're stepping back out of the Netherfall and you're coming back into existence. You're standing there, you just got done with the conversation of the two Darkwood Stalkers. And now you look around and she's looking right at you. Okay? Now, was Arsin beside you during this? Arsin, where do you think you would have been standing when you guys were having the conversation with the Darkwood huntsman?
I think he was fairly close to me.
I think he was too. Can you hear me, Colby?
Earth to Colby!
I'm going to say no. I'm going to say he could not hear me. So, everyone just enjoy Colby for a little bit until he gets his technical stuff figured out.
What?
So, does anyone want to say anything really funny to Colby that maybe he can't hear and won't be able to react to? Does anyone have anything funny they'd like to say?
No, I'm here.
Oh.
My ADD kicked in.
I get it. You were fairly close to Rook when the conversation ended. You know, just because it gives me something to work off of here. How close were you to him? Like 5 foot, talking to these two Darkwood huntsmen? Or were you facing a different direction? Were you looking to box? Were you looking at Hector? Were you watching in the distance to make sure nothing else is coming? Just give me a rough idea.
I think he was just making sure nothing else was coming. Because if I remember right, he was like pretty much on the other side of the circle of that Rook. He was like pretty much on the opposite side of the spider circle that Rook was.
Okay. That makes sense. Okay, with that, Finn, what are you doing in this moment? I'll give you a reaction round here just in case something pops off or happens. But this is the
Everybody out of the range of the spiders, and most of the spiders are dead now, or is anybody
I'd say
standing?
a good 75% of them are, and there are some that seem to be crawling around unorganized, as if they've just been they've lost their leader, almost like bees when the queen dies. You know what I'm saying? I think that explains it pretty good, doesn't it, Jeremy?
Anything
just a
standing in the...
scattering of them. Some are on Hector, some are crawling all around, some are headed over to their caravan, which is not too far away from them. Some are crawling down towards the a feudal packs of them are crawling down towards the actual place where the play is going to be going on. Stuff like that.
Okay, well, in that case, how many spiders are there?
Well, if I had to count them, I'd say probably about 62,000.
That's a lot of spiders.
Well, really, it's not. I'll just put it like this. There was a 10-foot aura, or radius of them, completely full.
Okay.
And now there's about 25% of that. So at this point, you're going to have to just use your imagination to understand that there's groups of them that are massing around in swarms of like 2 to 3 foot that seem to be scattering and dissipating and running off from the area in different directions. If you're going to go that direction, you're going to have to push past the 3 guards, which are trying to keep everyone kind of back. You're at that. You're the guy at the concert that wants to get on stage, right? That's the situation you're in.
How far away am I from them?
28 foot 3 inches.
To the spiders? Or...
The closest group of spiders is going to be 14 foot away from you, trying to find shadows to creep into. They don't seem like they're going towards anyone, but you see that's why the guards are keeping everyone back. It's because these things are spreading around.
All right, and these are just like normal size spiders. They're not giant. I'm just trying to get a good picture of this.
They're not babies. And they're, before you ask, they're black with red legs. I don't have their individual names.
This one's Bob. This one's Joe. This one's George.
This
I
one's
would
Bobby
say he
Cow.
would. He speaks some words in a deep voice.
Okay.
Drops some stuff, and he casts sleep on one area of them.
Sleep. How big of an area does that affect, my friend?
Well, it has a range of 90 feet, and it doesn't actually say the area. The spell sends creatures into a magical slumber. Roll 5d8. The total is how many hit points of creatures this spell can affect. Creatures within 20 feet of a point you choose within range are affected in ascending order. That's why I was trying to figure out the size of them, stuff like that, because, like a tiny spider.
You're hitting at least 2 main veins of them as they are dissipating out of that central area, as they don't seem to have any collective source anymore. As you pinpoint an area past where these 3 guards are kind of holding everyone back and trying to push you all back, and they're saying, be mindful, step back, stand back. And they're trying to push the crowd away. Go ahead and cast your spell. Just for clarity on these things, attack spells are a d20 plus your spell attack roll, right? When I'm gauging the potency of a spell, I have people roll a d20 plus their spell save DC modifier added to it. That's going to tell me how well he pulls this off.
That is a 24.
Very, very good, buddy. Go ahead and cast your spell at full potential.
Yeah, casting it at 2nd level, which gives him an extra 2d8 of hit points, so that is a total of 78.
And I know how many hit points each one of these spiders have, so when you roll that for me, tell me. And do they have a saving throw versus the sleep effect, or does it automatically work?
I don't see any saving throw.
So it's just that many D worth of creatures.
Yeah, undead or creatures immune to it, and then basically if someone uses an action to shake, anything like that, or until the spell ends.
Okay.
But basically, however many hit points, it keeps going until the hit points run out. So, for the hit points, 7 be 35.
35. Okay. So I will say, let's see. Okay. So that's 70 worth of these creatures. 70 of these is what affects in that 20-foot radiant area. So as you do that, you see, as they're scattering off and going different routes and trying to get away from them, you see half of them kind of stop and lay on their side and their legs just kind of twitch, as if you've put them in some kind of sleep-like state, as they are kind of moved and rafted around as the other ones run from around them. The spell was successful, and there is at least 70 of them that are now laying there comatose, sir. And that seems to help to a degree, as it thins out the amount and wave of them that is scattering out in different directions.
And as soon as he does that, he taps the mage on the shoulder and he's like, "Help!"
Okay. Next, Bella. You and Rook are sharing this stare for just a minute. Rook, you've noticed the stare. You feel her eyes upon you from a distance. I'll give you the first chance to speak. What are you saying in this moment, as now the Darkwood huntsmen seem to be gone?
I almost think that he was in the process of saying something else, and then he kind of turns back and sees her.
Mm-hmm.
And just, I don't know.
I mean, what else would you do, right? As he says that, Az'ara, what are you saying? I'll say you guys are, what did we say you guys were earlier? About, was it 30 or 60 foot apart when you guys locked eyes?
I don't think it was 60. I think 30 at best.
Okay, so we'll say you guys 35 foot apart. At this point, when you've come rushing up there with Daphne and stuff, what are you saying in this moment?
I am not sure if she's saying anything quite yet. I think probably what she does is she positions herself in between Hector and him. And by the way, do I see a whole bunch of spiders too?
Yes.
Do I see any, like, moving towards the caravan?
You do.
So she's gonna be still cautiously sort of looking at him, probably maybe like having a chakra pose in his direction, and with her right hand shooting a fireball at a pack of the spiders that are heading towards the caravan.
Awesome. That's awesome. Now, understand that from the cool interaction that you had of Hector inside of that caravan and the tale that he told you, and you see these spiders.
Mm-hmm.
It is okay for you to draw full conclusions from this. Okay? Because I'm not going to make you roll for any of that dumb shit. You know what you're thinking. And I'm just curious, share with me what is on her mind about the spiders going towards the caravan. What's your fear so I can work with it?
Whatever this is, it's something funky. And she was just told about this very powerful thing that they have in the caravan. So she isn't sure if they're just happen to be a part of whatever's going on. They're normal spiders, if there's something else going on. So she doesn't want to leave Hector's side yet. But are they like really close to the caravan?
Yeah, like 20 foot or so. Just
How much?
A little bit closer to the... Oh, you mean the spiders themselves?
Yeah.
As they're moving right now, they are 20 foot away from the caravan, and there's about 2 well, I'll say one main vein of them head
Mhm.
that direction, about the size of a 2 by 2 foot kind of mass. They seem to be moving around almost like you can imagine a bunch of spiders would be, as they're kind of unshaping and reshaping and climbing and heading that direction. And these spiders,
Okay.
I will say, are on average about the size, legs and all, of a big computer mouse.
So
They're like a big brown wolf
yeah.
spider as they're going, but they're black bodied that are very shiny, and they have red legs that almost get to orange tips on their feet as they scatter across. They're very strange colored.
So I'm gonna edit what I said she was doing.
Yeah,
She is not standing in between Rook and Hector, though she wants to. She's going towards the spiders to try to take them out because they're going towards the caravan. She doesn't. Rook's, I don't know, is not comforting to her in the least. But it's like one of those things where she's like, all right, Daphne and Damien are with Hector. I don't even know how to deal with that guy over there right now, but Spider's bad. Running towards spiders to squash and firebolt them.
Okay. Go ahead and roll your attack rolls for Firebolt and tell me how you do.
Okay. That is plus her spell attack modifier, you said?
Mm-hmm.
So that's a 10 plus 5. So 15.
15 hits.
Yeah.
Go ahead and roll your damage for the first Firebolt. Is there multiples you shoot or just one?
Let me see if I can shoot multiples. Because if there are, yes. If not, then no.
Okay.
So yeah, I just had to pull up the spell itself.
Okay.
I think it just says you hurl a motifier at a creature object within range. Yeah, no, I think it's just a single fire thing.
Okay, does it say to be able to cast it at higher levels or anything like that?
It's a cantrip, so I mean, yeah,
Oh.
let's see. I think she could probably cast it at a higher level, but it's like, it doesn't increase in damage until 5th level.
Oh, I get you. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. So it's one bolt, Firebolt. That is a hit. Go ahead and roll your damage.
All right. Let's see. 1d10.
Uh-huh. And is it plus anything?
I don't think so.
Okay. And there are ways to earn that later on, because you know how you can use your skill points to get more damage when you're doing your damage moves. There's also skill points you can spend to make spell damage increase. There's ways to be able to add in your modifier from your ability to it. It's just something you have to fish as you level up and add. But for now, the 1d10 is fine. Go ahead and roll that, please.
Okay. 1d10, that's a 9.
Okay, 9. That's not bad. That's able to take out 18 of these things in the first initial blast.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And she's kind of sprinting towards there with her chakrams to get any of them physically as well.
Okay, and is that Firebolt, is that a main action to do, or is that a bonus action?
Make a ranged spell attack against a target on a hit, blah, 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 blah. I think, yeah, one action, yeah.
Okay, so you have a bonus action you can still use, and you have your movement and anything like that, so you're still running in that direction. I'm going to say your movement's what, 35 foot or maybe even 40 because you're a dancer? I know they get some movement to them.
Her movement is, let me see where I can find that on her sheet.
On the right-hand side of the sheet, about 2/3 the way down, it'll say movement.
Oh, 40, yeah.
Awesome. You would be able to get right up to them wherever you need to be. You could get right beside Hector, you could get right beside Arsin, or you could get really close to the actual caravan from there.
She is going toward trying to get as close or on top of the thing of spiders that are going towards the caravan.
Okay, I'll put you in within melee range of that group headed that direction.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah, and I use my main action, so on her kind of speed over. She can't try to step on any. I think that's pushing it.
You know what? Roll me Acrobatics or athletics, and I'll let you know how you do.
A d20?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So you said.
Yeah.
You said athletics, so what now?
Athletics or acrobatics, you explain to me, and whichever one you choose to use, describe to me how you're running along that direction, and I'll let you stomp on a certain amount of these on
Yeah,
your way
it's
there, depending on how well you do.
not great. Rolled the 4. That's a +3 for dexterity, so that is 7 with a proficiency bonus, which is +2, so 9.
With a 9. Roll me a 1d4.
Okay. 4.
You're able to catch 4 under your boot along the way and get them as you're headed in that direction. Okay? As you do, you notice that when you're close to them and you step on them and hit them, there is they kind of burst in almost like it's so hard to describe. It's almost like some kind of hot, poisonous liquid explodes from them when you step on them. Okay? I'm just going to say overall, as you're running, roll me a... well, because you have your boots and you have that stuff, but you are stepping right on them. Roll me a Constitution saving throw, please.
D20.
Yeah. Plus your Constitution modifier. Tell me what you get.
Constitution +2, and I rolled a 12, so 14.
14. Okay. DC is... I rolled a natural 1. Congratulations. You can see that this stuff that these things are spraying out when you're stepping on them and making close physical contact with them is toxic to some degree. And because of your swiftness and being able to move through them the way you did and step on them, instead of them being up close to you, you think if you were closer to them, this might have affected you somehow, as you can smell the material on your boots and things beginning to burn, and you smell that acidic kind of smell coming from them, as if it would eat skin. Okay, and it would burn and blister to a degree, but it's not come into contact with you. You seem to be okay for now.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep.
With that,
As a
Go ahead.
reaction, does she need to kick off her shoes? Or no?
that sounds like a terrible idea.
Okay.
I'd say your shoes are the only thing that's saving your ass, right?
Meaning it's not one of
I know.
those things where it's like eating through the soul, getting close to her skin type thing?
Not yet.
Okay. All right.
Okay. With that, let's go ahead and do initiative, guys. And tell me what you all get, and I will give you a chance, and I will explain this, because this is theater of the mind until we move a little further. Natural 20?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Shame to waste it on initiative.
Well, it's not a waste. That's cool. Let's see what we got. Hold on.
Did we add something to initiative?
Yes, we do. Jeremy, tell her all about it.
I believe it's your dexterity plus any bonuses you've got.
Bonuses.
Foresight, if you invested any points in
No.
foresight.
Okay.
Alright.
So, I'm sorry, but that is incorrect. It is okay. To initiative, you had your proficiency bonus.
Mhm.
If you look down there in your initiative box, it'll say proficiency bonus on it. And then it's the modifier of what you're planning on doing on your turn. So if you're doing something weapon-wise or physical-wise, it's going to be dex for you. If you're doing something spell-wise on your turn, you choose that ability modifier and add it to it. And then, Jeremy was correct. If you've spent any skill points on foresight or any of these awesome skills, they also give you a bonus to your initiative, and that should all be written there in that little box. It's going to be real close to your movement box.
You said what you're gonna do in the next turn.
If you don't know, you take the lower of the two.
With the spell thing, is that the spell attack modifier or what?
No, it's just what. So you cast your spells using charisma, correct?
Okay.
Charisma answer.
Sure.
So it'd be your charisma modifier plus your proficiency bonus.
All right. Charisma and Dex are the same, so it doesn't matter. Woo.
Cool. Okay. That's what you add to it when you roll it. You add your proficiency plus that.
Yeah, so I got a dirty 20.
Look at you.
Because there's a 15 plus 3 plus 2.
Nice. After your bonuses, Danny, what'd you get, bud? You are muted, my friend. I apologize.
28.
I'm sorry. 28? Nicely done, buddy. Rook?
Yeah, with a
Natural 20. Hell yeah.
I'm actually working on that as we speak because I just added a point to foresight for my level. So let's see, 4, 5, 6, 8. 16.
Not bad, guys. And Arsin, what'd you get, buddy?
16.
Okay, who has the higher dex between you two?
I'm at a 14.
What you got?
If he
I'm at a
doesn't
7.
beat me, if you don't beat me, I'm severely disappointed.
Okay, so
I got a 17 dex.
okay. So got it. I'm gonna put +1 beside you so I know that you go first before him. Okay. So we're gonna use theater of the mind here because Brian was out dealing with shit all day long and could not create this map from what we're based on. So I know it's a bit confusing, but does everybody feel like they kind of have an idea as to what's happening around them? Have I painted an okay picture? Because I hate doing that sometimes. I feel like I lose people, but I'm trying to do the best I can with it. So in this moment, you've got a flock of spiders that you've just burnt the shit out of several, and they seem to be headed towards the caravan. You see some that were coming and running towards shadows and trying to escape from that circle, headed towards the crowd. Danny's able to put a bunch of those to sleep. Is that concentration, by the way, Finn?
No.
Okay, cool. How long does that last then?
This is a weird spell because it doesn't have everything just pop up at the top of it. Basically, until they're awake, until the spell ends. Okay, it's 1 minute duration, so 10 rounds.
And I want to say this too. That way it's recorded and all that kind of stuff. Like I say, as we introduce our videos, we always say heavily homebrewed. And it's very true. I want to explain this rule about rolling dice for spell effects real quick. So it's set in stone and everybody understands. Plus, if you're watching and you're like, what the fuck are they doing? There's our PG-13 rating, Colby. We just did it. And I beat Bella to it this time, so it was all good. I'm giving you hell. When you roll 19s and 20s, typically that's damage and a half or double damage on melee attacks, right? Now you can do fireballs sometimes for like 10d6 and shit like that. So if you rolled a d20 and got a natural 20 on a fireball spell, I'm not going to turn that into 20d6. What we do is instead we give advantage on all the damage rolls. Okay? If a natural 19 is rolled when you are rolling a spell DC, how potent your fireball is, you get advantage on half of the dice rolls. And if you roll a natural 1 when doing a spell, the radius and area of effect is reduced up to half, and you get disadvantage on your damage rolls. Does that make sense? That is the standard we are going to go with. That way, you know, the rolls for the potency of a spell really have an effect moving forward, okay? Is everybody okay with that? I know we don't debate a bunch of rules in the middle of a game typically, but that sounded really, really good to me. Okay?
I
Everybody
will
okay?
need to be reminded of it anyway, because my memory is awful.
Well, it's all good, and it's a pretty simple thing. Jeremy, Danny, people that have a lot more experience with this stuff, sound pretty easy to remember, right?
Yeah.
Pretty basic stuff. Okay. So moving forward, let me roll for some of them. Jeremy, I want you to roll me a 1d10, please. Lower's better.
I mean, if we want a low number, should somebody else roll that?
No, smart ass. You're terrible.
I got you.
What'd you get, Jeremy? A 3. Okay. Okay. And then roll me a 1d4, Jeremy.
Yeah, that pesky D10, the one die I don't keep around often.
Oh, right on, my bad. I'll have to remember that.
1.
Really? Okay. So there are 3 main packs of these spiders that have taken off. One's heading towards the caravan. One is heading towards Bast in the group, and it seems like it's trying to run and find shelter or a shadow to crawl into and escape. And one seems to be headed down towards where the play is going to be, which is straight in the direction where you came from, Bella. It's headed down to where that performance is going to be. Okay? Now, at this moment, it seems as if nothing else is coming out of the box. It's laying there. Did you pick it up, Jeremy? Okay. It's laying there, face down, open, like making a triangle of the open spot on the corner. Nothing else seems to be coming out of it. And I will go ahead and let me roll initiative for the 3 groups.
Burn it with Hellfire.
Okay. 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 The first person to go is going to be Finn with an amazing 28. What would you like to do on your turn? I'm going to just draw a basic generic thing here to show the shape of where everybody's at. So
Okay.
we'll, so I'm going to draw this for the caravans. I'm going to make this spider group 1, SG1. Let's make the steps going to the Colosseum here. I will make this
Not even here.
spider group number 2. And then the ones coming away from them are going to be spider group 3. 3. Okay, and then right beside them at 1 is going to be Az'ara. Danny was held back behind this wall of guards, trying to hold the people back, and you cast from back like Freebird! You were back behind the security guards casting your shit. I'm going to put Finn there. Okay, then we're going to put Arsin near the middle. I'm going to draw a faint circle where that used to be, where the spider group used to be. You were standing on the outside of that rook. I'm going to put an R there for you. And Arsin, I'm going to have you standing beside him. An AR. And you're an AZ. Okay, I have everything I need to have. And I can tell you, you can ask me about things and features on your turn, and I should be able to give you half-ass answers. So we'll be good.
Great. So guards are in front of me. Spiders are moving like off to my right towards people.
Drunk as hell looking, because you put half of them to sleep. It was beautiful.
Yeah. Are there are they kind of, so they'll be passing in a line from me, like, like, is there anything on the other side of the spiders? Like, is there a building, anything like that? And how far away from them?
Hold on a minute. Just a minute. Sorry, I thought about one more thing I need to do. I gotta write down how many are left out of what you guys have destroyed real quick. I gotta make sure to take care of that. And number 1 was the biggest group. Number 2 is gonna have... Okay, got it. Okay, so your question was again, and I apologize. What was it, Finn?
So basically, as they're running, like they're in a group, is there anything like on the other side of them, like a wall, a building, anything like that, or is it just people?
Okay, so beside the 3 guards, the 2 have their shields up and their spears up like this, and they're trying to tell everyone to stay back and stay calm. The mage has his back to you guys, and he is trying to create some kind of barrier, and he is in the middle of casting something, but has not completed it yet. Okay, as the spider is we're kind of coming towards you, and you hit with that sleep spell and put half of them down for a minute at least. Okay, they seem to split off in 2 different directions from that. I'm going to draw out some arrows to the right, coming towards your right, and V towards you. It seems like there are, I'm going to say it is a shop that has been set up for people, and they're getting ready to sell food and refreshments and things for people that are going to be down there watching the show later. It's people setting up like, the funnel cake kind of fountain kind of shit. Oh, and it's not funnel cake. It's that kind of thing. It's a booth there, and it looks like they're scattering over towards it. The group that part off and is going to the left of you, towards your left side, Danny, it seems like it is going towards a crowd of people that are trying to scatter, and that would be the main roadway you took here. So it is just getting under the feet of just pedestrians that are trying to get out of the freaking way. You hear some horses that are getting chaotic as a few have got on their legs possibly.
Okay, they're split, and that kind of changes. So how far apart are they? And at this point, he's just going to try to get past the guard. He's going to let me through. I'll take care of him as he's pushing his way past. And he's careful not to bump the mage.
Okay. As you do that, you need to do, if you're saying let me pass, I'm going to make you take your free action to do a, you want to do persuasion, or do you want to do intimidation? You're like, let me through! Or are you going to be
persuasion.
like, how do you want to do it?
Persuasion.
Okay, go ahead and roll and tell me what you get. And this is going to be at disadvantage. Well, no, I'll make it straight roll because you just put a bunch to sleep. Let me see if they notice this. Oh, for natural 20, they definitely noticed that you had a hand in this. So this is going to be straight roll.
Okay, 21 then.
21. As you say that, one of the guards, as he's holding his spear up and stuff, and he's pushing someone beside you, he looks at you, and you can see through the visor of those hawk-like helmets that they have. He goes, go! And he holds his arm up a little bit. You'd have to push past his black and gold cloak, almost like a drapery, you know what I mean, to push through to be able to get into him, but you can. Yeah, like a whole new, yeah, all that shit.
As he's running, the cloak behind him, is billowing out.
As you do, they are 20 foot where they split in front of you, and they're going off in a perfect 33-degree V.
Okay.
So the center, the ones you put to sleep, are 20 foot right in front of you once you burst through. And then they're going off. They've made it 10 foot in equal directions, going right and left at angles from you.
Okay, so 10 foot, 10 foot. So if I'm in the center, the edges of them are 10 foot away.
Yeah, if you had a 10-foot radius, you could just reach. Yeah.
I have a 15-foot cube. Stomps his foot, and when he does, he screams "Tonitrum," which is Latin for thunder. And Thunderwave.
Get started, man. That was caught!
Thunderwave.
Nicely done.
Not bad with a with bonuses will be a 21 for the attack, just to let you know how it does. It's not a natural 20 though. So way below that.
Okay.
And
you ever seen Jim Brewer do an impersonation of AC/DC?
oh yeah.
Guy is magic. He just like he gets into it, man. In his voice, he sounds just like it.
So
would you roll
each
for
creature inside of it takes 2d8 thunder, and that or 3d8 because he's level can cast.
Each
level
creature
2.
inside, huh? Damn. And what did you roll your D20 plus your DC thing to see the potency of this?
21 total.
21 total. Okay, but no natural 19, 20, or 1, right?
No,
Okay.
no, it was a because this spell attack is a 9, so it was not even close to that.
Awesome. All right, go ahead and roll your damage.
All right, that is 15 to each one in it. Oh wait, and actually 17. I forgot he has empower spell points for his evocation magic.
You know what's funny? And I'm sitting here drawing this up, and I'm not trying to be cheap. But when I take the size of the items that I drew you guys as, and I do a 15-foot cube there, other than scragglers that have already made it off a little bit, you're going to be able to capture both those and the ones that are asleep in this, which is a very, very, very good use of this spell. I mean, I'd send you a picture of it. It's pretty good.
And the other advantage of this is everything is pushed 10 foot away from him. So those nasty little pops of acid are not going to be near me.
Oh, smart, bud. Nice. Okay, good job. Good call. Like you did that on purpose. Listen to you. What was your damage again, sir?
It was 17 for each of them total. Of
And that's
thunder damage.
everything in that area takes that.
Yep. So a thunderous wave of force sweeps out from you. Each creature in a 15-foot cube originating from you must make a Constitution saving throw. On a failed save, a creature takes 2d8 thunder and is pushed 10 feet away from you. And you can add 1d8 because you're another level. On a successful save, the creature takes half as much damage and isn't pushed.
Okay, and you said DC was 21, right?
Well, no, my DC... See, that's a weird one because I've got spell DC that I've only got +7 to, so that would have been, see, it was 21, so it'd be -2, so that'd be a
DC of 19.
DC of 19.
Okay. But you understand how that works, and that makes sense. You rolled a good roll. That's awesome. Okay. That's funny. It doesn't matter. Dude, this dice is something wrong with it. I just rolled another natural 20 and then a natural 1 right after it. No joke. It's just dice. There's no middle ground with my dice today. And a 9, which is middle of the road. What's crazy about that is...
I love that there is no middle ground. Immediately gets the middle ground.
And a 9. Yeah, because I like to contradict myself. It's good. Keeps the ego in check. What a day. What a day. Even in passing that saving throw, these spiders would be toast. And I mean, I'm not trying to be like, oh hell, Finn the Spider Slayer, but I mean, this really works out well for you in this moment. All of those. Group number 3 is perished. The ones you had asleep that were laying there dormant, because they're just conjured spiders. And you happen to have got a bunch of them. With a pretty damn good DC and the thunder throws. So what this looks like, oh, this is perfect, Danny. Do me a favor, Colby, just to have some fun. Roll me a 1d20 and a 1d6 and tell me what you get, and then I'll tell you what that was for.
I got a 16 on the 20 and a 6 on the d6.
So listen. There are a few moments when things work out perfectly as they should. And I wasn't going to describe to you the aftermath of this until it worked in. So that gives that person a 22 on their initiative. That was the initiative of the mage that was working on that spell while the 2 guards were shielding everybody back. You cast Thunderwave. Baboosh, right? They go shooting out in fiery, poisonally hot tendrils in all directions. From that comes flying towards the crowd, right? But as he's there, just as soon as they're flying, his initiative is right after yours. Okay, in the process, it's right after you, which is, oh god, it's so good, right? And as it's coming, he actually puts up like a wall of force to keep people back so the guards didn't have to work any harder. That's kind of what I was working on. And the moment that he gets that stuff up and it starts raising up and he's creating that wall, as his hands raise up like this in the background behind those guards, and you can see their hair and stuff kind of fly up, all those embers and dead spiders just hit that thing. Right? And just stop it dead before it just peppers the whole crowd. Awesome moment. Good stuff. That was fun. Good job, Danny. Anything else you're doing on your turn? As all this stuff went flying past you, you did walk up on the other side of this wall as you blasted these things 10 foot away. So I want you to do me a dexterity saving throw to see if you take any damage from these things flying by you with the hot acid kind of effect.
Well, it should be expanding out from me. The thunder wave.
Oh, well,
So-
you cast the cube up there on a spot. You didn't say you cast the cube on where you were standing, did you?
No, it has to be. That's why I said he stomps his foot, because it's a
Oh.
thunder wave.
My bad.
Emanating from
I
him.
completely understand then. You understand my confusion,
Yeah.
right? I apologize. I thought you stomped your foot and that was like some cool Thor shit before it went off. You ran up there and then did it on them. Perfect.
Right.
The only thing I would ask is as you were running up there through them, I want you to tell me what that dex check would have been.
That dex check would have been. I guess dex on there. Oh, yeah, because he's not proficient in dex. That's why. That would have been a 15.
A 15. Roll me a 1d6, please.
2.
A 2. Okay. Finn would have triggered and it would have been your armor. Okay. 7 points of acid damage. Okay, which wouldn't have come up that high since you were running across them and stepping on them. So your armor's going to take 7 points. Now, if that breaches it, you're going to start feeling some stuff. Hot tamales. And just like Bella was saying, do I need to, like, take my boots off? And I'm like, no. Definitely let's not do that.
I'm not familiar enough. I had an idea that I could do. I'm just going to write it down. I'll have to research. But he has absorb elements that works as a reaction, but I'm not quite sure if acid counts as an element. I got to be a whole bunch of
In
reading
this
for
case-
reaction.
In this case, I would say not.
Yeah. So 7 points. Got it.
Okay. And, you know, take it off your breaking point of your armor, and if it surpasses that, whatever passes it is lethal, and the rest is done to the garment itself. You understand how all that works, correct?
Yeah. Got a whopping 2 hit points off of me, which turns out when you are a elven.
Level 3, it's more relevant than you thought.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, 2 points, and I'm like, holy crap, that's like.
Yeah,
It's
you're
like-
not fast anymore, bud. So, with that,
It's like, got a whopping 34 hit points here.
yes. Az'ara, you are going to be the
Hear me
next
over there
one.
like peasant.
Watch their wind, Gus. They'll fuck you up. And now we're officially an R-rated show.
Whereas I'm
Az'ara,
over here
you
like,
are
oh,
up.
I have armor, but then I've also got leather skin.
It's not. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Shadowy leather skin. Ooh, yeah, good stuff.
Hey,
So,
my
yeah,
armor
with
thing is
Mystique,
the most
right,
confusing here.
Bella? Bella, your turn, ma'am. What have you got planned for these pesky arachnids?
Trying to get ahead of them, like closer to the caravan than they are, and firebolt again.
Okay. You can make a 5-foot V. If you took 5 foot of movement, you would be in between you and the spiders coming at an angle towards the caravan. You would be standing in front of the steps that lead up to the inside of the caravan. With 5
Yeah.
foot of movement.
Yeah, she's gonna
Okay,
do
so
that.
I'm going to move you. Now that you're there, you turn around and the grouping of them are there in front of you.
So, I got a nat 20 for her rolling to firebolt them.
Okay, so what's great is you get advantage
Mhm.
on the damage roll.
Mhm.
Okay, and tell me what it is.
Let's see, that was a D10, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Damn it. Is a 2.
You rolled it twice, and your highest roll was a 2.
It was a 2 and a nat 1, so.
You need new dice.
Something. I mean, she rolled natural 20. I hate giving you 2 points of damage on a natural 20.
The universe likes to keep us humbled.
I guess so.
I was, again, like, they can't see, like, my face or my hand movements or whatever. I was so excited and happy. I'm like, hell yeah, firebolt, nat 20! And then immediately the universe is like, no.
So, I mean, I hate the way that feels, but it kind of made sense. I gave her advantage on the damage roll, for God's sake.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
what else do? So,
Or I wonder if just narrative wise, it's like this like super amazing cool fireball comes out, but then is just angled just slightly poorly and just nicks the very corner of the pack where it's like, man, that would have been incredible if I just aimed it a little more to the right, you know?
makes sense. And really, traditionally, you would have just got 1 point of damage.
Yeah.
Because that's before we did the rolling rules and stuff. So, to be honest, you doubled it. You did good.
Oh wait, let me see something real quick. Spell attack. I mean, no, that was just a spell attack modifier. Never mind.
Okay. You took
At least
out...
you didn't hit anybody else like I did before.
Right on.
That is fair.
You skim over them. You shoot a little high, and you're able to light a few of them on fire. And they burst and are slain, but not nearly as much as you would have hoped. That's your major action of 5 foot of movement. Do you have anything else you'd like to do on your turn?
Free action. She's probably yelling over to Daphne of like, Daphne,
Okay.
it would be helpful for someone to come.
And I know you're just kind of getting new to the character. Is there anything else mechanically you want to be able to do on your turn? Is there any kind of reaction or bonus action spell? Or do you have a feat that would give you another swing or anything like that that you're familiar with?
I do not believe so currently.
Alright.
Ah, damn it. I just realized I could have done something else.
Right on.
Well,
Well, next turn, right?
yeah, that, Danny, that is exactly the thing that I just realized I could have done. Son of a
Okay.
bitch. Alright.
So group number 3 would have been next, but they are thunderstruck. God, it's so good. It just keeps getting better and better. The next person to go is going to be Arsin, and then Rook will be right after him. Okay, so Kobe Mobley, what say you, sir? What do you got?
That's a good question. What do I got, Brian?
Well,
Because my character doesn't know squat.
well, you have 5 levels of something pretty cool, and 1 level of something you're trying to be better at. So I think when it's your turn, is a weird time to ask me what you can do. I think it's something you gotta study beforehand, my friend.
It's what we first rolled at the beginning of this plan. Brian, is everything's gone. So like
I understand.
last time we were in a fight, I was like, I asked you like, does my character know this stuff? Nope,
Yeah,
because
that's
his
fair.
memory sucks.
So if you want
This-
to, I'll give you another round worth of turn if you want to go ahead and let Rook go. She can think about what you want to do.
I think the best thing he can do is just swing his sword.
Okay, do that. What are you swinging it at, by the way? I'm curious. Details like that help. Like, which group you going towards? Are you moving? Are you just swinging your sword in the air? What you gotta talk
Is
to
it-
me a little bit about what you want to do.
Is the closest group to me the one going to the caravan?
No, they're about
Or which
5
one?
or 10 foot further than that. The closest group to you actually is only 10 foot of the map north of you. They're the ones that are headed towards the cement or the ancient concrete steps that are leading down into where the play is going to be held at.
Alright, I guess I'll go
You
for
can
that
run
one.
towards them.
I'll go for that group.
Okay. Do you have reach of any of your weapons and stuff like that? Now, you are first level monk. You do have fist attacks too and first level monk stuff.
Mhm.
So, it's whatever you choose to do at this point. Or you can use your sword. Does it have reach or is it just 5 foot?
It's a short sword, so I don't know what would make it reach.
It's okay. So you're going to move the 10 foot up towards them and swing? Is that what you're doing?
Yep.
Okay. Okay.
Attack roll was 19.
Okay. The attack rolled 19. Go ahead and roll
Mhm.
damage for me.
Alrighty. 11.
Damn, sir. With that short sword, you really just reached in there and freaking went kapow. So these things are crawling along the ground. Can you kind of give me a description as to what this looks like for theatrics? Because I know it's basic, but the great thing about D&D is you can make this as fantastic as you want just through storytelling. So what does it look like as you run up to them and you strike at them? Like, what way is it going? How are you trying to make your hit the best? You know, are you saying anything? Feed me, buddy. Tell me something.
I would say, like, as he's running to this little group, he would pull out his old, obviously used over time short sword. It's like kind of like I would say it will kind of look like a golf swing as he swings down the get most of them.
Gilmore them. I like it. Okay. Okay, and that does quite a good attack there. How many points of damage was it again? Do you remember?
11.
11, not bad, man. Okay, so that is group number 2. Okay. Okay, that takes out over half of them as you swing down and swipe through in that direction. I need you to roll me a Constitution saving throw, and the DC is... It's high. It's high, sir.
$17.
That is unsuccessful. And
Yeah, I get to see how my armoring works.
Yeah. Well, okay. So here's the thing. When you go down, and you reach close to these things and swat through them. I have an interesting mechanic. It's however many you slay, plus a 1d20 roll. So this automatically, you went through and busted up quite a few of these, plus a roll, and it was high. Okay. So now I have to figure out the damage for these in a cloud burst. Okay, and it is a certain number plus another certain number. Oh, fuck's sake. Oh no. That is going to be 18 points of acid damage that bursts up from this as you just went in and just pretty much wha-bam and smacked them at melee range, and they explode up with these fumes, and as you had to get your hand down there close enough to get to them, this is taken by your armor, of course. So what happens is, if it's 18, okay, so you know what your breaking point of your armor is. You take that much off of it, and if anything surpasses that comes off of you in lethal damage.
Right, so the breach?
Yeah, so do you know what the breaking point of your armor is? It'd be at the very bottom of your character sheet. It'd say BP.
We didn't do that because of the scales and on armor defense.
Okay, roll me a 1d10.
Five.
Okay. You take 13 points of lethal acid damage in your armor, and stuff takes 5. Okay, so keep note of that, okay? That was one attack. What are you doing for the rest of your turn? Remember, you reduced the number of them more than half when you did that.
Can't do another attack because it was my one. I think I'll just stop there.
So you're just stopping there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Next is going to be Rook. Rook, what are you doing on your turn, buddy?
All right. So near me, what kind of spider action are we looking at?
Okay, you were about 5 foot to the south and right of where Arsin was. You saw him roll up there and draw out that short sword. He went down and he took a swing at these things, and you saw a blast of that hot acid like shit burst out of these spiders and scored him as he's like, "Grr!" and he reaches his arm up, and you can see it burning on his scales on his arm and the short and the simple leather kind of gi that he has on currently. Okay, smells bad. Okay, serious damage from that. That is going to be about 15 foot from you north. The group of spiders that just exploded behind you and went out in direction. You said you pushed those 10 foot, Danny? Would have literally just fell apart right at your feet. He was right at the 10 foot mark. So from behind you, you see a scattering of the ash of what is left of these spiders. You've seen that happen before already in last episode. Okay? And then 5, 10, 15, then 20 foot to the northwest is the direction of the caravans from you. And that's where you see Az'ara fighting the group that seems to be going towards that.
Okay, so at present, we've just got the two groups left, right? The one that Arsin's fighting and the one that Az'ara's
Yep, they're both to the both. One's facing straight towards the stage where they're going to put the performance on, and one is northwest of that where the caravans are at.
With a quick scan, how is, since I imagine Arsin's closer, how is Arsin looking?
Roll a perception.
I
check,
imagine,
and I'm gonna
he
make
let
that
out a pretty heavy hiss after that.
I'm going to roll a perception check. I'm going to make that your free action.
Okay. $19.
Colby, you are more welcome to tell him the truth of the matter. How are you looking?
He would probably be like screaming out in pain.
Oh, I forgot you guys still have hit points missing from your previous battle, don't you?
Yeah. All right. So with that, my echo is going to. I'm trying to think of how to do this without throwing him into any more poison damage. Echo is going to try to come in as much between Arsin and the spiders as possible as it makes a swing with the scimitar.
Okay.
And basically, I'm going to try to position it to where, if the spiders explode, the Echo will take it rather than Arsin.
Okay, it only takes 1 point of damage to defeat the Echo, right?
Yep.
So if more than 1 point of damage goes through the Echo, the rest of it just goes past him, correct? You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
If you're wanting to create a shield, you're creating a 1 hit point shield by doing it that way. I just want to be clear about it.
Yeah, I got you.
I'll give you one more reconsideration, or you can go for that because you are level 3, and sometimes not everything's perfect. And I'm not trying to bust your balls, but that's just, you know what I'm saying?
Okay. I'm going to go over there to Arsin. My Echo is going over to Az'ara.
Awesome. And
So
does it
I'm
take a
going to
bonus
do what I
action
just
to
said, my Echo.
Summon those?
He was still summoned from before. I don't think he actually went down.
Awesome, okay. I'll give you that.
I could be wrong.
I'll give it to you.
But yeah, I'm going over there. I'm going to take a swing at the spiders, positioning myself between the spiders and Arsin.
Okay. I'll put an Echo up there beside those spiders that Az'ara's at, which you're within 5 foot of them. You're close to them for that kind of stuff, okay, Az'ara? So now they're being flanked by you and this Echo of Jeremy's character. Once we go through the turn, I'll have you theatrically just explain, okay, Jeremy? And then you're running up yourself, and you are moving between Arsin and the spiders that he just hacked.
Yep.
Okay. I want you
Brooks.
to roll me. I want you to use an extra 5 foot of movement to at least nudge him back out of the way
Yep, that's
on
fine.
your turn, just because it needs to be something to do that, okay? And he
Okay.
had movement left on the end of his turn as well. So, okay.
Works for me.
So you are up there now. Okay, as you have pushed him back, you can see that it has burned off, and some of his scales look to be pink, and they are steaming, and it is a hell of a thing right now. As you have went up there, you've taken the 15 foot of movement. You took 5 of that to use your arm to usher him back. Because you've already had your turn, you had movement left. Arsin, would you heed his warning, or would you want to stand your ground? You are willing to contest it if you want, and if so, it's a strength check.
No, he's gonna go with it just because he just took a face full of that acid. He'd be like, yeah, if you want, you can take it.
Okay, right on. Okay, now what are you doing, sir?
It had been a swipe with the scimitar, which I rolled a 22.
Okay, 22 absolutely hits. Okay, go ahead and roll your damage.
Okay. It is 7 points of slashing damage.
Okay, that damn near takes out the. It's all but one left on numbers, but you pretty much cleave through and knock the rest of them out. I need you to roll me a Constitution saving throw with a DC of. Yeah, it's stuff. Go ahead and I'll tell you if you pass it or not.
A dirty 20.
You just pass it. Okay. So how many points of damage did you do again? It was
7.
7. Okay. 10 reduced because you did your thing. 5 points of acid damage. Okay?
Okay.
And it splashes up. If your arms are unarmored or any kind of part like that, you just have to think about this. This is a spray from a regular attack. So this is going to be... I'm going to contest it with your armor. If it breaks the breaking point of it, you take lethal damage. If not, it's absorbed by the armor. Okay?
Okay.
I love how our mechanics work. I like our optional rules, I really do. Okay? And with that, there's one measly one left there, kind of looking in a puddle of his brethren, fallen and spread like PB&J. What are you doing for the rest of your turn? Do you get to command your echo or anything like that? Or?
Make sure I still got it left. Yes, I do. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna make another attack from my echo. Is Az'ara 30 feet or more away from me, or is she still within like 10, 15?
Now that you moved up there, she's within 15.
Cool, that works. The echo can't get out of 30.
Okay, you're good. You're good.
Yeah, so he's gonna go up.
The echo is.
Yep.
Okay.
And let's see here, what's this take? Okay, yeah, just a additional attack. So it taking a swipe at the spiders as well. That's a 14 to hit.
14 hits.
Great, 5 damage.
Okay, so that's group 1.
And I would like to use my bonus action to swap places with my echo after it attacks.
Is this an instantaneous thing?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, and I just want to get used to, so bonus actions to swap places with it. So you moved up, you controlled yourself, you did an attack.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It was already summoned up. What did it take from your turn to command it to move?
Nothing.
Okay. You understand why I asked? I didn't know if that would have took a bonus action of its own accord. You can move it once a turn within that 30 foot 30, 30 put at will. That's what we're saying.
Yeah.
Okay. Well done.
Yeah,
Good
it's
job.
just like a mental command.
Okay. I like it. All right. So, do me a favor in theatrically acting when you do your free actions. If you have an echo that you're concentrating on, make sure that you seem strange. You're not like reading Shakespeare or stuff if you have an echo up, okay? Just kind of
Right.
play off of it, and that will make your DM feel a lot better about the situation. Okay, so absolutely. You switch places just as the acid splash occurs, okay? Now, how many points of damage was that again? You happen to remember?
It's 5 points of slashing damage.
Okay. And your Constitution saving throw is going to be, holy shit, yeah, God bless. Roll that for me, let me know what you get.
Well, that wasn't great. That's 9.
Okay, so
But now
11
it counts.
points of fiery acid damage. And the inspiration for this, if you've ever seen, there's this particular beetle that makes this extremely hot liquid within its body and shoots it out, and it's literally steaming when it shoots out of their body, and they use it to squirt in the eyes of predators and shit like that. I forget what kind of beetle it's called, but that was the inspiration for this. It's ridiculous. And it's one of them late YouTube nights where I was just looking at random shit. Like before, that was the amount of damage that it did to you. And, you know, armor points first, and when it breaks the breaking point of the armor points, it starts coming off that's lethal damage.
Right.
Okay.
All right.
Az'ara, I need you to do me a dexterity saving throw, please.
So with saving throws, I add the modifier and a proficiency.
Okay, so if
Right.
it's a dexterity saving throw, you just add your dexterity bonus.
Okay.
But if
Not
you're
proficient.
proficient in dexterity, you would add it. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
I think you are because you're a dancer.
Correct. Yeah. So proficiency to dexterity +3, and I rolled a 14, so a 19.
A 19 just
Yeah.
Okay, 19 just gets it. So you take half of that. So what was that you took, Jeremy? I forget. I'm sorry.
It was 11 points.
Okay, so you would take 5.
And that's lethal, non-lethal.
Well, what it does is you have a breaking point to your armor.
Mm-hmm.
If it gets under that, then your armor takes all of it. And you write down -5 off of your total armor points, or TAP at the very end, which is going to be a pretty decent sized number. If it goes over top of that, the breaking point, or the BP of your armor, then everything over that becomes lethal damage.
Okay.
As if it broke through the threshold of it and it's getting on you. And that number works in 2 different ways. It works on, you know, puncturing thickness, and also works upon cover as well, which is kind of a multiple thing when we're using it like this. So, did it get you?
I don't think so.
Okay. What's the BP of your armor? We'll just look at it real quick. What's it say down there at the very bottom? You find your armor, you just
Oh, okay.
down.
I was looking at the armor class
It's
breach,
not much. I think you just have like clothes on.
4. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it does get me.
Okay, so you would have taken 1 point of lethal, and 4 points would have came off of your armor or your clothing. And what's your TAP, total armor points? What is that total?
TAP.
Be near the very end of that line.
Oh, 42.
Okay, so you would take 5 off of that. And keep a note of that. You don't have to erase it now, but just keep note. And when it gets to that point, that shit is toast.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. 42 is the ultimate answer.
Right. It is the answer of all things. The sum of... Well, that was off Hitchhiker's Guide, right? Yeah, that's good shit.
And then I can just do mending later when we're out of combat and stuff, and that fixes that.
We'll have to see.
Okie dokie.
Okay?
Yep.
So, with that, Jeremy, is that the end of your turn?
Help me remember. I got a 4-3 for APR. So that's
A 4 every 3.
yeah,
That's 1, 1, and 2.
1, 1, and 2. Okay, yeah. So that's it.
Okay, all right. Danny's like, what? That's
Yeah.
what that is. Level 3 characters, man. It's all good. They don't get us.
I know I got 1 every 1, and then I got a bonus for 1 every 3. So I was like, hold on.
Okay, so now with that, it's their turn. Okay, Danny has taken care of his group down to the south. You only have one scraggler left that's trying to get away from you guys and head down the steps. Just one singular spider. Okay, but the issue is the ones that are within 5 foot of the stairway trying to make their way up towards the caravan, and they begin this process. As they go around in between your feet, Az'ara, and begin heading up that direction, some other people step in. I need you to roll me a 1d20 and a 1d8. Tell me what Damien gets.
Let's see, a 1d20 you said?
And a 1d8.
1d20 and d8.
Yeah,
Well,
both
she's
those
rolling.
together.
11?
11 total?
Yeah, you said for me to roll it, right? Or no?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, 11 total.
Okay. So Damien was not able to interfere first and get into the initiative order as the spiders went before him. Now you get to check for Daphne.
Same dice?
Yes.
Alright.
Daphne got a nat 20
Okay.
and then a nat 1 on the d8.
She gets a chance to react here. So, just for fun, I'm going to let you do this. Give me an idea what you believe Daphne would be doing in this moment and what it might look like. Now, if you want to have that fun, kind of sometimes you do, I'll let you have it. If you're not sure, I will create something.
I'm not as familiar what's in her arsenal, so I will leave that to you.
Okay. Roll me a 1d20. The higher you roll, the better she does here.
2.
Yeah.
Arachnophobic.
Yeah. Spiders. I'm out. Right? So,
I just picture like almost like a I'm coming. I am not as much coming in that direction because that.
So as she runs up this direction, she is going to wild shape. Now, Jeremy, is a wild shape like an instantaneous or bonus action thing, or should you take their full action to do for a druid? Do you remember?
I think it's a bonus action. Later on, it becomes. I don't even know that they have to do much with it.
Just real quick, because it's going to give me an idea what she might do after that, but I know what she's going to try to turn into here. I just have to make sure that it's going to work.
Let me look here. Wild shape.
For the sake of the story, Brian, I'd be willing to overlook the timing, and she could do it.
You can use your
Well, yeah, but
action
it's
to
a
magically
two.
assume.
It's a two that's the problem.
That's what it is. It's an action, and later on, once they get higher level, they can do it a bonus action, I believe.
Okay. Yeah, with a 2, she is going to use one of her wild shapes here, and she is going to become a very, very interesting looking creature.
By the
For
way,
this
I just
brief
realized
moment.
something.
Huh?
This is twice in the span of one episode where I rolled a nat 20 and then a 2. Twice.
I'm doing the same thing over here. I'm telling you, there's something going on. As she jumps over and lands on the steps, she bows down and she brings her arms up. And as she spreads her arms backwards again, you see a fantastic looking creature that none of you have ever laid eyes on before, ever.
Except for
Except for her.
Az'ara.
This creature, to describe it to you, it looks like a thin, like mountain lion kind of looking creature, but it seems to have it is blue and green with silver stripes in its fur. It is more blue than anything. It is very, very beautiful creature. It looks to be something that the elves would have created in the Dawnscape. But what is very interesting about the creature is that it has what looks like long peacock feathers that ring down the middle of its back and make a long fanned out tail on the back of this creature. And as it does, it perches itself on the stairway there and growls and tries to intimidate. Wow, you know, I mean, how they roar like that real sharply, and it furs up and stuff like that. And those peacock feathers on the tail fan out real big back behind it as it stands on their steps and acts as a barrier between the door and them. Okay.
It's funny how peacocks are like, I am mad, look at me, I'm pretty.
Yeah, I know, it's pretty crazy. Are you intimidated by my beauty? Yes. So, having said that, that would be all she would have the chance to do on that turn of a 2 and things of that nature. The spiders go that direction. Let's see what happens. This is group number 1, and let's see what they do. Oh yeah, okay. They swarm and try to go up and around her, and they go up. At first, she's striking and things are going, but eventually they kind of overcome. There's several of them, and they start going up around her and stuff. You can't tell if they're making it to the door, but several of them are attacking her, and they seem to have been able to get around her and are headed up the steps. They could even be going underneath the door of the caravan in this moment, right now. Okay? As she is viciously fighting them. We have one more person. Colby, roll me a 1d20 and a 1d10 and tell me what you get.
Okay. 19 on the 20 and a 3 on the d10.
That's a 22. That also beats the initiative of this creature. I know what Hector is going to do. Okay? And as he does this, Finn, in the chaos of everything that's going on, and me knowing where Hector was at this moment, Hector was down below where Az'ara was at the beginning of this fight. I have him marked on here. Finn, roll me a perception check. You would have been the only one to really notice this happen.
Natural 19. You need with bonuses too, or is that good enough?
Please, just for the hell of it.
So it'd be a 25 total with all skills and whiz.
You would have seen him do a interesting thing. I'm going to call that, I'll just give you that in Arcana. You know what I'm saying? He does a version of a Misty Step, only he travels through sand. We've heard of that. Danny McGuffey has heard of that before. As he hits the ground and you see it fly along the ground as if a gust of wind, and you see it go up into the caravan itself. In that moment, as he reappears, you remember me talking about that orb of heat that he had around his right hand? Okay, as the spiders come up through, you guys see a flash of light in the darkening day flash out from underneath of the door and around the sides and come out some of the windows as dust ruffles and then settles coming down from the caravan from the outside. And as it does, the door to the caravan bursts open with a spray of these spiders on fire shooting out the door as he has done some kind of blast to send them back that way. Okay? For the hell of it, I need you once again, Bella and Jeremy. I need for you to both do a dexterity saving throw, please. As he sends them flying out the doorway. That's better. It's about time you guys had a low DC. It's about time. What'd you get, Az'ara?
19 plus 5, so 24.
You're fantastic. Rook, how'd you do?
16.
That was 15 was it. So you're good, okay? In that moment, you would have taken, Finn, you would have taken total of 4 points of this fiery acid damage. And Bella, you would have taken, well, it'd be the same. It'd be 4 as well. Okay? And the same as your breaking point on your armor. If it doesn't, 4 is the threshold, so that would just come off of your armor points. And Jeremy know how to work that as well. Okay? So with that, it seems like he has taken care of the rest of the spiders in that instant, in that one sweep, as he has let loose some kind of spell. It has to do with the heat and the sands of Dimir and pressure, as he has blown them back out the doorway and knocked the door to his caravan off the hinges in the process. As Hector stands there in the doorway with that long tan cloth scarf hanging down off the side of his neck, and as he does that, you can see him put the sword away, and he tucks it down, and he begins to look around, and he starts to calm a bit, and he starts looking around. As he does, he runs down the stairway, and he looks at you, Rook, for just a moment with concern, and he first puts his hands on your shoulders, Az'ara, and he takes them and rubs them on your face, and he goes, "Oh, are you okay?" And he's brushing you off. He looks very concerned. Az'ara, what are you saying in this moment?
I think her suspicions are kind of eased in that reaction, because if everything happened because Rook was actively trying to harm Hector, Hector would not be running up to him with concern and worry like a fatherly figure, like, "Are you okay?" So, you're muted.
Now Hector was doing that to you, not Rook.
Oh, okay. Never mind. For a second, I'm like, I guess they are very close.
Oh my god, that's funny.
Okay.
That's the name of the episode, Mixed Messages.
Mixed messages.
That's it, yes. So, no,
Okay.
he was doing that to you. He's not rubbing Rook's face. What?
I don't know what happened in the...
He gave Rook the kind of off-putting kind of nod of acknowledgement and look, and then he ran over to you and started brushing you off, and then put his hands to your face.
I missed that gap. I'm like, well, I guess Rook and Hector... Okay. So then she's probably like, I'm all right. How about you? You something happened. What happened to you? Are you okay?
He's breathing heavily.
I think she's like, is it because of him? And then points at Rook.
He looks over at you and he walks up to you kind of swiftly, Rook. And as he does, you can see that his sword is gone, and his hand, his magic hand, is still extended, but there seems to be no orb around it as there was. And he goes, "You can start to make this up to me by fixing my door. You can start there. Are we agreed on this?"
I don't know that I have anything to make up for. I was simply doing what I was asked. I had no clue that this would happen.
He gets a little closer to you and he says, "Truly."
You know a Sircon.
Az'ara from a distance, but you brought it!
Which is fine. Is that what you say? That's fine.
Yeah.
He nods. He turns half from you and he looks over and he's knocking off the fiery remnants of these spiders off of his boot. And he says, "I know of no Sircon."
Shaved head. Bracelet with a scorpion.
And I'm supposed
spoke rather fondly
behind this problem.
Yes. He is the one who handed me that box and asked me to deliver it to you. The way he spoke of it was as if it was a priceless gift. And I know
that
if
point,
anything of the sort, I'd have killed him where he stood.
inside of 21, what is he picking up from you on this?
Exactly what he's talking about. He is seething right now at the thought that he was used for this.
At that point, Daphne lunges off the top steps at you. 19 to hit.
Am I seeing this from a distance?
I'm going to give you a chance here in just a moment. Yes. 19 to hit.
19 doesn't hit.
Okay. Doesn't even touch it to begin with.
Here, just miss.
What is your armor class primary?
Let's see. 2 skill. Okay, no, never mind. It does. I got an 18.
Okay.
I would, before you roll damage, I'd like to match initiatives with her. If he sees this.
I was saying, if I've got a second to react at all, my echo's popping in.
Yeah. Well, reactions happen on your turn. This is a theatric thing that's happening in between. Tell you what I'll do. Roll perception check at disadvantage, Danny, to get involved in this.
15.
You can tell there's some commotion going on over there, but when she leaps down off the stairway and pounces on top of him, it is too quick a thing for you to react to.
Okay. Well, when she lands, if I can't beat her getting there when she gets on him,
Okay,
I'd like to.
that'll work. Jeremy, roll me a competing strength for me. Let me know what you get.
Save or check?
It's a competing, so I mean, it'd be just a strength saving throw, I guess, is what you could kind of call it. It's just going to be your proficiency bonus and your strength modifier versus this creatures that she's jumping with.
22.
Okay, that wins. So as she's jumping onto you and she's trying to knock you down and land on top of you, you are able to defeat her in that competition. It does not knock you down. I'll let you describe the way in which you resist this.
He's gonna throw his weight. It's gonna be a whole lot of. She's gonna jump on him. He's not gonna straight chuck her off of him, but it's going to definitely be a get her to the ground.
Okay, so as she comes down, and do you use just kind of your arm and shoulder check? Do you kind of just defend yourself and knock towards her and stuff like that, just flat in that direction? Is that kind of how you do, or do you want to use your hands and grab?
I'd say it's just gonna be kind of whatever she does. If she jumps on his back, it's just gonna be kind of like
she's coming right at the front of you because
at the front of me,
Hector, and she's jumping right towards you past Hector. She jumps over Hector's shoulders because she was on those stairs, and she jumps over as that leopard and just comes to pounce down on you. Both her paws are coming for your chest. She wants to knock you down.
Oh, I got you. Yeah, no, in that case, it would be a whole lot of, if Rok goes back, it's kind of like a backwards roll.
Okay, and a kickoff of her. Okay. So, as you do that, that happens. You see this creature flap in that direction. Now, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to let Danny have his reaction. Then, Bella, I'll talk to you, okay? As that happens, Danny, you see Rok do this kind of roll where he takes the creature's strength and takes it and kind of does a backwards throw as he rolls and lands with his arms spread out on the ground as the creature rolls back 5 foot past him as she lands. Oh wow. She lands on her feet and turns and just starts to have a wild growl really quick, followed by a low rumbling one as the two are 5 foot apart from each other as she's facing him, curled up like she's maybe going to try to pounce again. What are you doing?
I'm going to use Vortex Warp.
Okay, where does that put you?
It actually puts her. Can't target myself with it. You magically twist space around another creature you can see within range. The target must succeed on a Constitution saving throw. They can choose to fail, or the target is teleported to an unoccupied space of your choice that you can see within range. The chosen space must be on a surface or in a liquid that can support them, so they can't throw them in the air or anything like that. So,
Wizards are awesome, right? I mean, come on. Think how this looks, man. This is awesome. Go ahead. So
so
cast
the
your spell.
DC will be The DC will be a 19.
Woo-hoo.
Let's see where she is. So within 90 feet of me, I'm going to put her on the other side of the guard.
Nicely played, Mr. McGuffey. Okay, so what was the DC?
19.
18. About got you. I thought I had you. So she does not succeed on the saving throw. So you put her all of a sudden, boom, and back past where you were. Okay.
If I had more hit points, I'd have put her at my fingertip and boot the snoot. But
I get it. So, boot the snoot. If that's not the name, I mean, there's too many good titles here. In initiative order, Bella, I will give you your reaction here to this. What are you doing in this moment?
I have a question. Are Rook and Finn next to each other? Or close to each other?
No.
Damn. Alright, so she's gonna do, her... Let me look at the exact name before I say it. She's gonna do Magnify Gravity on Rook.
Awesome.
To
What is
sort
the
of-
spell save DC for that? Roll your 20 and add your spell save DC and let me know.
Let me see if I can find that information.
And remember, spell save DC is right below
Oh,
where your
okay,
next
okay.
round are. Yeah.
Spell save DC, I have a +5, so is it D20 +5 or?
Correct.
So I gotta roll a D20.
I'm still rolling around in pain from the acid.
We're going
So
to get
it's
you,
a-
bud, yeah.
It's a 9.
Just a 9. What is
Yeah.
his saving throw? What does he got to roll versus this?
Let me see. Need to
Fight off the
find.
effects of it.
Yeah, I need to find where that is.
Constitution or strength?
I have to pull up the Dariblin because Dariblins are funky.
Yes.
Let's see.
And I think you should be able to find it pretty easy there. I remember how it was all typed out. It's only like,
Yeah, I'm
Ooh,
looking. Strength, I think.
okay.
Yes, strength.
Go ahead. The DC is 9.
Yeah, so you're probably gonna.
You Valdros, you. Go ahead. How's that looking?
Oh, so close to a nat 20. It was a 12.
That being said, it says on a failed save, a creature takes 2d6 force damage and its speed is halved.
it's because the Valdris are flat earthers and
Okay.
he doesn't believe in gravity.
So this is going to take, so he'll take half of that.
Mm-hmm.
So roll your 2d6. Let me know what you get.
Okay. Yeah, so half of that, so 2d6. Oh, wait, hold on.
Let me know what half that is.
1 second. 2d8 if focused on a single target, which this is.
Okay.
So 2d8.
force damage. Roll that and tell me what half of it is.
Half of it is 5.
Awesome. So 5 crushing force damage, and his movement is not halved because he passed the strength saving throw.
Yeah.
So explain to him what this looks like and what he feels, and if you're saying anything in the casting of this in this moment.
I don't think she says anything. I'm trying to think how she would cast it, whether or not she uses her hands or not. I'm wondering if it's almost like one of these. Like if you were to do cast a spell, like if it's like magnify, her hands go out and it goes down. If she were to diminish, then it would be kind of the opposite.
Yeah.
So I think maybe like kind of that hand movement and kind of that intense, almost like pressure on the shoulders, like crushing sort of down, almost like a
Nice.
large invisible boot.
This is
Nearly.
an awesome moment. I just hope we all like each other at the end of the day. But this is really theatrically.
You know, it's so
this is
funny
really
to
cool.
it's so funny to go from like plan A to plan B, because like plan A, it's like Silwan and Brahmas and Merc, it's like they're very close.
Yeah.
And then in plan B right now it's Az'ara like being very pissed with Rook and trying to crush it with gravity.
Right. So we have that. Just for shits and giggles, it would have been Arsin next. Arsin, what is it you're feeling like doing in this moment as you see him in his? You saw you saw it all. You know that tried to pounce on him. He was able to throw it off, and all of a sudden, Az'ara's like. And mind you, your gravity and a lot is focused from your horns, Az'ara.
Mhm.
So as you would see them kind of shimmer, and not shimmer like bright, but kind of distort. Yes, go ahead.
So two quick things. One visual aspect to add in, and then one kind of thing. Well, two, I guess, visual aspects. Is I kind of like the idea of like the ground kind of beneath Rook, almost kind of developing like little cracks,
I
like underneath his feet. Because of that pressure, he's just fighting off the effects of it because he's a strong boy. And then she's
Just to
currently,
spite her too.
yeah.
I used my hard to kill feat and made every drop of that non-lethal anyway. So
Nicely done, nicely done.
But she's currently disguised self, so she doesn't have the horns out, so it's
Oh,
most
right.
likely like shimmering around her hair then.
Awesome.
If not weirdly in the shape of horns that aren't there, but you probably have to look pretty close to notice that detail.
So you're seeing all that, and by the way, for folks that are watching this at home, you can't tell, but as I'm talking, Bella's like,
Yeah.
I'm talking, she's like, just trying to get her shit down. I get it, because Danny, before, you know, when this whatever the hell it is jumping on Rook, Danny's like, everyone's just trying to get in there to do what they can for each other. It's nice. Now, with having said all that, it is you, Arsin. You've seen all this going around you. What would you like to do in this heated moment of physical and verbal debate?
He's like, oh, I'm just gonna slap somebody random.
Yeah. Go
I
ahead.
mean, I'm thinking I got acid in my eyes, so if I start swinging, I'm might gonna hit some innocent bystander.
Hey, you just D&D. You do what you want to do.
I think he would like speak up, but like in obviously he would speak up in pain from the acid. Like, I believe him. He didn't cause this. I've seen that box, and I was in the realm he was in. This was not his doing.
Roll a persuasion. Please help me fix this. Because if you all just fight yourself and it's the end of plan B, I mean, we can always just go to plan C. Shit, I got nothing going on. This is, you know.
I got a
things
15.
happen. I'm
15.
sorry, what'd you get, buddy?
15.
15. Okay, so charisma checks. For Az'ara and Brooke, I want you to do a charisma check as well. I'm going to do one for Daphne and see what we get. DC is a 15.
Please roll, because we all fight. I'm gonna be the first one
Daphne
to
actually
die.
rolled a natural 10. She does not get it. So she is kind of understands and is in pause of his words. Daphne sees the fact that these spiders attacked him and attacked Rook as well, as now she's starting to kind of size up the situation and is still holding her ground, but she is not lunging back at you, Rook, in this moment, as Arsin's words seem to have made some kind of sense to her.
Sisters are apparently in the same vein because Az'ara got the same number.
Oh, that's cool. So let's go ahead and now listen. Here's the thing: she's an NPC, right? You are not. You're a real girl. It's like Pinocchio. I'm a real boy. You make your own decisions. I'm just trying to help this situation, but maybe it doesn't need help. Maybe you guys want to have it out right fucking here, and that's perfectly fine with me. We all know where everyone's hearts is, but our characters are lost in this at the moment. This is a very tense situation. This is the OK Corral shit. Okay, so having said that, take that roll and use it But if you are real headstrong on doing something, I would never let that kind of roll persuade you completely from doing what you want your character to do. I want you guys to know that. This is just a tool to get some perspective, okay? So in that moment, Arsin, is there anything else you were doing with your turn after you've said that? Anything physically you were moving to? Are you going over to defend him and help him up? Are you going over to chasing off that one singular spider that seemed like it was going on down the steps? What is it you're doing the rest of your turn? I'll make that a really generous free action, you speaking just now. And what are you doing the rest of your turn, bud?
I think after that he'll like help Rook up, and then seek medical attention.
I'm sorry. I bet it was good, but I couldn't make out the last thing you said. What was it?
Seek out medical attention.
Looking for medical attention. I get it. I'm sorry. I hate to have more description. There's no hospital signs around here exactly. Do you have...
I am screaming in pain because of acid, Brian.
Right on. He's like...
He's pressing the button. I've fallen and I can't get up.
Yeah. I'm falling. Yeah. It's terrible. So, with that, in the middle of that inspiring words that seem to have reached the sisters, and Rook, I'm curious, what did you get? Charisma.
15.
So
No,
you
18
matched
total.
it. So you matched it, right?
18 total.
Oh, 18 total. So you overcame that. So you sense the words. You're seeing the slack down effect it might have had on the other two.
I don't need convincing. I was there.
Yeah. But what are you... How does this... Are you just holding your ground? Is there anything that changes, the shifts in you? Just describe to me how your body language and words react in this moment. I'll give you a quick phrase if you want.
As long as he sees everybody's chilling out, he's going to stand up and dust himself off.
Okay. Real quick, just before we move forward into the next thing, Bella, what kind of body language are you showing now? Because is that something you keep concentration on, the downward crushing force?
Let me look.
Because if his speed is halved, I think it's something that has to be concentrated on, possibly.
I'm not seeing anything about concentration.
Okay. Well, that's because I wrote it poorly. But I could see where that would need to have concentration kept up on it if it's keeping his movement halved for a duration. And I'm going to put it up to a minute. Okay? So, future reference.
Mm-hmm.
Concentration up to a minute. Okay?
Okay.
Which makes sense for what it is. If you see something else that sounds better, once we're out of game and you want to talk, we definitely can. I'm just making up a...
Yeah.
Okay. So, what does the words of Arsin, that is in pain, has fought in this battle? You've met him in the tavern, in the endless satire. You know that you can see Rook has suffered damage in this battle as well. The words seem to make sense to you. Daphne seems to be holding her ground. Mind you, Hector seemed to have sharp words, but he didn't exactly pull a blade.
Mm-hmm.
What's your reaction here?
I think that she gets rid of the kind of gravity. She kind of dismisses that, and she, like her sister, is cautiously watching, where it's not like, oh, cool, like, don't worry about it.
Now,
it's like she's not...
You can't see Daphne at the moment, actually, because she got put back into the crowd by Danny.
Okay.
I'm sorry, but
I guess a similar response then. So where she can see her, but there's that kind of similar thread of like, they grew up together, obviously they're siblings, they both kind of have similar reactions maybe to certain stuff, so although she can't see her sister, probably having a similar reaction to her of, I'm not okay with the situation and I don't trust you as far as I could throw you, but this isn't an active threat, so I'm going to chill out a little bit.
Okay. Last thing, and then we're going to go to break. Danny. Now that this has come around, I'm going to give you the last reaction to this whole situation. It seems to be de-escalating a little bit. What are you doing in this moment?
Enough. The spiders have dissipated. The guard is here to round up whoever's brought them.
Okay. Roll persuasion, please. With a...
Woo! 16.
Okay. I'm going to stick with initial roll so we're not just rolling like crazy. That further affects the sisters, but Rok still seems to be steadfast and just holding his own ground and being very self-sustained. He's not letting the tide of this sway him either way because he knows what he knows. With that, we're going to go ahead and go to our first break. It's a late one, but when we come back from break, here's what I'd like for everybody to do. I'm going to try to take a back seat when we come back from break. And I want you guys to talk this out and decide how we're going to move forward. The only inspiration I'm going to give you are going to be the words of Hector. Okay? So we're going to have a real conversation in real time. Which, the more D&D we play with these people, the more that will happen, right? I don't need to put initiative turns. We're out of initiative now. Okay? Until somebody does something that requires a roll or some shit. Okay? If that were to happen. So we'll deal with that when we get back from break. Think about how your characters, and possibly they're your characters, how you want this to unravel. Or how you want this to weave itself back together somehow. Because this is on the edge of being all out bad shit, or a division of the group here. Certain people don't believe in it, certain people do. As a campaign, of course, we don't exactly want that. So, we have to give this some thought, okay? So think about it. Have a cup of coffee, use the bathroom. We'll be back in just a minute. Let me go ahead and get ready to pause this. In 3, 2, 1. Okay. We're back on. Good deal. Went to break, did our thing, had some conversations. At this point, I'm going to kind of take a step back, and whoever has something to say, please go ahead and take it. We are out of initiative. The only thing I will enter in with is something from Hector here. Okay? So as this conversation is going on, and we all know what's happened, I don't need to describe it again, it just happened. Hector walks across, and he stands over top of that box, and he looks down at it for a long moment. It kind of takes everyone's attention for just a second. And he reaches down quickly and sharply and picks it up and looks at it. And as he does, a spider crawls out of it and starts circling around in circles up around his hand and stuff like that. And he doesn't right out attack it. He just kind of looks at it and he whispers something. He says something in a kind of old world type style of Demirian accent. Az'ara, roll a perception check, please.
$14 plus. You said perception?
Yes.
Okay, perception. So 14 plus 2, that's 16.
You're able to make out kind of what he says. You're able to look at him from a distance. You know the language fairly well, especially the one from where they're from. They speak it all the time when they get mad at each other. They're kind of like Greeks, you know what I mean? They only cuss each other out in their home tongue and stuff like that. And his words are that, so you finally found me. Maybe it's time I stop running and I come find you. And that's what he says in that moment. As he takes the spider off of himself and he's looking at the orange legs kick up, and he looks at it from his hand. He looks over at Rook. He steps over towards him and he takes that spider. And he looks at it closely and he looks into your eyes. Slowly. Very intense. And this is more intense than you would have assumed. You know what I mean? This was an actor and a performer from what you had heard. This is a warrior's intensity. This is someone that is a mage. This is someone that knows what it is to be serious enough to do some damage, right? And he looks at you and he says, you said the scorpion? Was this gift giver's name?
Zircon. He wore a bracelet with a chained scorpion on it.
We shall decide how best to sting the scorpion. A taste of his own medicine, I think. Damien comes up. Go ahead.
It seems to me, when myself and Arsin fought moments ago, he's the least of your concerns. A woman made of spiders, in a crimson dress.
He looks at you, and he tenses up for a minute. Do not say her name. He looks over at Damien, and he starts to tear up a little bit. And at this point, Daphne's starting to come out of the crowd, where she was kind of banished off to currently, with her head down, with still kind of a firm look on her face as she slowly comes out of the wild shape and forms back into Daphne in front of everyone's eyes. Looking upset, beat, and confused all at the same time. And as she comes up to walk, he looks over at her. And there's a sadness in him when he sees those two. This mention of this Red Queen triggers something in him. You don't know what it is, Rook. But there's something. Roll an insight just for the hell of it.
$17.
Yeah, you definitely would have noticed the watering up and the fear that he's trying to hold back, like water being held back by a mighty dam. With a 17, okay? And with that, he says, he takes a deep breath and he goes, so she has failed then. Our hearts still beat. And your gift did not deliver on its promise of death. It would seem that we are possibly in this together then, as I am sure she'll be looking for both of us. And he takes and he throws the spider down hard on the ground with disgust, which damn near kills it. It's barely twitching, but it's alive down on the ground after he throws it. He goes, and he puts his arm up and he calls to Daphne to come over to him. And as she does, she comes up with her head kind of down, and he pulls her in close and puts her head up against his chest. And he puts his other hand out for Damien. And Damien walks up and he runs his fingers through his hair and scruffles his hair up and stuff and holds the side of his face and smacks his shoulder and rubs his right shoulder. And he's holding the both of them. And he says, what do you have to fight for? Your pride in this? being taken advantage of? Or something greater? And that's what he says to you. And at that moment, I'm going to wait for a response. And everybody go ahead and feed off that moment, okay?
All the above.
You said both?
All the above.
Okay. You guys go right ahead. Anyone else jump into the conversation, walk up? We're out of initiative. Go ahead, Bella, what's up? You're muted, I can't hear you.
So not necessarily jumping into the conversation per se, but can they see her, or is she a little bit behind them?
I'm going to say, just for the sake of argument, everyone is somewhat in view of everyone else. At least everybody knows where everybody is at this moment, as we're all gathered within like a 20-foot area around where this battle somewhat took place at this moment. Everyone knows where everybody is, and you can hear each other.
More so when you were sort of describing it, kind of based on, here's kind of the mental image I was sort of picturing in my head of if there's like Rook, and then there's Hector, Damien, and Daphne. I imagine that she is a bit further back behind them, kind of closer to the caravan. And the thing is, I think her seeing Hector kind of have this reaction to the kind of two siblings specifically, and his focus is definitely on them. I think there's like a little bit of like a feeling that gets stirred up in Az'ara, like that sort of like small voice in the back of her mind of like, you're family, but you're not that kind of family. And she's not going to say anything, but there's kind of like some inner turmoil with her of like, you know, I can be there, I can be his adopted daughter, I could be their adopted sibling, we could be a family all the time, but at the end of the day, she thinks back to what her actual form is, and there's like a little bit of like a heartache happening on her end.
Okay, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Finn would be approaching. He would use prestidigitation to clean off, you know, what little bit of stuff marred his robes that are over his armor. He'd have his hands clasped behind his back, and his cloak hood would be down so you could see who he is, but he would be slowly walking up, probably to stand somewhere between, not like in between, but kind of off to the edges, but closer to Rook, because he knows him.
Okay, Rook, are you saying anything in this moment?
You're muted, Brian.
No, it should have been on. Yeah, it's on, right?
We hear you now.
Yeah, okay. I pressed the button twice, which takes it on and back on again, so. With that, what did you say when you walked up? Anything, or are you just walking up to be beside Rook?
Well, at this point, he's trying to listen in and see what's going on. He has no idea, you know, he would just, what just happened here? Seems like a kind of fair question, come to think of it.
I was asked to deliver a box to this family. I was paid handsomely for it. However, I was not let in on this. I was under the assumption that this was a priceless treasure of the family.
Are you a courier?
I take jobs.
The courier is not to look in the package.
I did not look.
So then their quarrel is not with you, it is with whoever purchased your services.
That should be the case. However, I am the one that brought it.
I'm not trying to match your voice, I've just got a cold.
It's like Finn sounds deep for an elf. This is like the James Earl Jones elf that we're used to hearing. A field of dreams. Yes. People will come, Ray. People will most definitely come.
I want to now. I want to hear Finn sound like Sean Connery.
Yes. Oh God, don't start. You're going to get him started. Colby, does Arson have anything to say in these moments?
Uh, he would actually since everything's like calming down a little bit more and he's not worrying about the spiders anymore. I wonder if he would be trying to look around to see if that third person that was in the fight was around or not.
Which person is this?
The one from the Huntsman Guild. I was fighting the spiders when it was just me and Jeremy.
They
Some
do
phone on
not
Oregon.
be. But you remember their conversation that they definitely wanted to talk to you and meet with you guys after this. If you watch a little bit of the last of episode 5, I had you both do these saving throws, these checks, which you both didn't make, and we kind of left that alone. Okay, if you remember the last episode. And that they said they wanted to speak with you, that they could possibly help in this situation because there was more of this coming. Okay, you don't know to what degree and how they foresaw this coming, but for some reason they were alerted to the potential of this. And when it happened, they stepped into the Netherfell with you guys to try to help deal with this. It turned out that they were a pair of Darkwood huntsmen of Hamelsbyre that have the ability to step in and out of the Netherfall. And that's what they were drawn to this. Okay, but they are gone. They were gone and had walked off before you had went back into the normal lapse of time. Not the lapse of time, but the normal flow of time. They had disappeared, walking in a direction down towards the platform, the performance area.
Okay. Then he would walk up saying, Rook and I weren't the only ones in the Netherfall. Or, yeah, he would have known it was a Netherfall, right? Or no?
You know that there's you would call it in the darkness. You would talk about it metaphorically as what it is, but you don't know the proper name of it for some reason. Roll a history check for me real quick.
Natural 20.
Yes, you do. You know it is the Netherfall, and you know that it is a place of darkness that you misfortunately bound yourself to when you made a pact a lifetime ago. And it is a place of just nightmares and regret now that you've came to your senses.
So my memory is finally coming back.
Yeah, Bella, what was it? Az'ara can speak up. You guys speak up at any time.
Yeah. It's funny, like as I was musing on the thing about like her kind of having kind of that inner turmoil a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Ironically, before Hector had called over Daphne, I was gonna have Az'ara reach out to comfort Daphne. So I think that kind of adds a little bit more to kind of that layer for her. But I think what she may sort of say is kind of be like a so it seems we are all somewhat on the same page, and I have a feeling that our audience is a little bit traumatized, so they may not be too eager to watch a show. And I wonder if this is maybe a conversation that we should have in a quieter and more comfortable location. And I think like she's saying that because like there's still like the audience is still kind of like, you know, recovering from what happened. There are the guards a few feet away. There was a crowd of people. Like we're having this discussion, but it's not exactly like one where it's like, let's all kind of figure out what's going on and have this deep sort of thing. So I think she's maybe suggesting like a change of a quieter scenery, if that makes sense.
As you're saying this and you're walking and you're seeing some of the guards ushering up through there, you see the mage guard step up at that moment, and he walks up to you, Finn, and he looks at you and he says, Lunesti, thank you for what you've done earlier. You bide me just enough time. I can't even say for sure how many citizens you saved. Quite a painful ordeal back there. I will do what I can for you in this report that I'm responsible for giving. We're having everybody leave the old district for tonight. Sorry to intrude. The two guards stand strong to his sides with their shields up, helmets down, unflinching. Okay? As it's now damn near getting dark. Okay? And
He's
go ahead.
He's actually very tall for an elf. He's 5'11", so he's probably looking,
Damn
eye
near
to eye with these
yeah,
guys.
Yeah.
And he's looking, he would talk to the mage first. I seen what you were doing with the wall. It's a little beyond what I could accomplish at this moment, but I've seen it in practice. I knew you needed time.
He goes, and time is what you've afforded me. But there is business to attend to. Captain Valamar will decide how this should progress from here, once I've given him the proper information as to how it's transpired. He goes, and he looks over to Hector. And he says, I am to recognize you as the leader of this theater group. And Hector, the kids kind of back away from him for a minute, and Daphne comes over and she holds on to you in that moment, Az'ara. And she kisses you on the side of the head. And she hugs you for a minute. And I'll get to what she whispers to you in just a second. Okay. As that happens, he goes, unfortunately for your city, yes, I am the organizer and creator of many beautiful faces in this group that we have brought to your city. And I am here to answer for what has happened. He looks over at Rok. And he goes, this has followed us for some time. And answering for it maybe is the first step in ending it. The guard, the mage guard, looks at him and walks up. And he hands him a piece of paper that's scrolled up, that has a black and gold ribbon tied around it with a silver pennant of a hawk on it. And he hands it, he says, you can read this by yourself in your own personal time tomorrow, just after breakfast time. We will come here to escort you. Read over that carefully. It is important. It is very important. He goes, and we will see how we decide to deal with this. As you can imagine, we have many people that come to this city that carry a shadow and a burden on them. He says, at least in this one there was minimal damages. As long as you all have survived this okay, I see no bodies laid upon the streets. And he looks around, he's looking for someone, and he's kind of wanting someone to tell him that it's okay. Is what he's kind of pushing for here.
You want all of us here to be escorted?
It's in the document. And he turns and he gives a nod to the guards, and they begin ushering people out. And as they're walking by, yes, Bella, go ahead.
I think Az'ara may be like, 1 second. Do you happen to know if you have healing items for our fairly scorched friend? And then points towards Arsin.
He looks over at him for just a moment. And he looks about for a minute, and he looks over to one of the guards. Roll a persuasion check.
Okay, let's see. I don't have advantage at Arsin's state, do I?
No.
Okay.
Do I have to get on my knees and beg for the healing, Ryan?
So I rolled a 14, and let me get my modifiers real quick. So you said persuasion?
Mm-hmm. Or if you want to intimidate him into it, give me a potion.
Or performance? Would performance help with that? Or no?
If you want to roleplay that, go ahead. I mean, we'll give it a shot.
Yeah, so I think she may, it's kind of be like, you are the guardians of this city. You are the ones who protect. And we have a member of your city who is quite hurt, quite harmed. And to appeal to your nature, to appeal to all that you do, must you find it in your heart to help him. So would that be performance or would that be persuasion still?
It's a bit of both. Whichever one you want to roll.
Okay, because I have +1 skill for performance. So I rolled a 14, and for charisma, that's a +3. Proficiency, that's a +2, and with the performance, that's a +1. So let me do math real quick.
One or the other, not both.
Oh yeah, no,
Either of the
sorry.
two, just go with that.
No, so it's like the
17?
charisma. So 14, charisma modifier is +3. The proficiency is 2, and then I have a skill which adds +1 to performance.
Oh, so 20.
A dirty 20.
Okay. He looks over to one of the guards with the silvered winged helmets that they wear, and he produces a piece of paper that looks like some kind of token that is worth the city's money. It's not like cash or anything like that, but it seems to be some kind of credit, some kind of note that will be able to get a couple things with you. And he takes that and folds it up, and he says, many of the shops in our city are here and are loyal to our king, Lord Omedan. And he goes, use this there, and you could possibly grant your friend some healing. There are also several different clerics and mages within the city that would possibly trade similar arts for this token.
Thank you so much. You could tell that there is heart of gold in the core of the city of Ulran. Thank you. I think she kind of goes like this to Arsin, like.
Okay. With that, he nods. And the last thing I'll say is, as everyone's kind of leaving and ushering past, you'd see Iveron walking by, and he's kind of in a group of people, and he looks at you as if his eyes, and he wants to say something, but he kind of can't because of the rush of people that are pushing him past. He kind of holds his hand up for just a minute, and he looks over this, and the words, you okay? And you can see those words leave his mouth.
I think she kind of does like a yeah type thing. I do have plans for her, later on, trying to sneak off and to see the face sneaker at some point for a source of comfort. So she may actually have a discussion with him later on.
Okay. Yes.
Finn would immediately turn to Hector and open the scroll.
Okay.
What have you drawn us all into? Because he still has no idea what's going on. He comes here, there's spiders pouring out. Now all of a sudden, after trying to help, he's in trouble with the local law enforcement.
Right. Well, facts are facts. You don't know if you have been or have not been drawn into it yet. No one has insinuated that.
Right.
That'll be for next episode. So, what I fully plan on doing is, I know what this needs to say and how they go about it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to write this up. I'm going to put it in chat between now and next game. Okay? So you guys have some time to kind of think about, how you want to prepare for this, and we'll move that forward that way. I think that's the best way to handle it, because I know roughly how it works and how this is going to be a summons and things of that nature and who you're going to have to answer to. But it would be nice to write it up really formal and come across and cross all the T's and dot all the I's. So we'll do that, and it's just dead on 10:30, which makes that a really good time to kind of chill. So yeah, could all be tied into some shit, maybe not. But the one good thing is, for Finn at least, he did help, and that guy seems to be on his side for that.
Yeah.
Hector recognizes that Arsin got hurt, and that Rok got hurt in the process too, and he is offended that he fell for this. I think it's fair to say, and the effect that it has had. It's going to be
same.
interesting. Huh?
Same.
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see how this moves forward. With that, we'll go ahead and stop tonight's recording. Once again, interesting stuff. That was a good time. Not bad. And let me see here. Stop recording.
We have a tenuous friendship.
Yes, that is well put. A tenuous friendship, I think, finally needs to be the name of the episode. So many good ones. Tenuous friendship, and if I spell it wrong, everyone will know. Okay, so for all of us here at the Tales of Ulran, once again, thanks a lot. It's a really fun episode tonight. Trying to iron out some shit, but I think we're getting there. And hopefully we'll see you guys again next weekend. And yeah, later on.